All right. Got us a great guest. Having fun talking in the chat behind the scenes. And was watching a little bit of your previous stream you were just on with Stitch and Adam.
Oh, yeah.
Good commentary.
I think
What
they
little I
hated me.
saw.
Well, I think the audience hated me.
They deal with that all the time, and then people kind of come
It's at
around.
the point where, like, either you go into a thing, you go, man, I hate the wokes so much. I want to destroy the wokes. Or you go, like, I don't know. I just think it's kind of, like, overblown and stupid. And I go, oh, no, the culture war is the most important thing in the world. I'm like, all right, fine. Good.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say culture war because I'm getting like very like Nietzsche red pilled where I'm like, I don't know if I believe in democracy anymore, and
Yeah.
I'm just going through this phase where I'm kind of questioning everything I've believed in because I'm a vet, so I didn't serve for patriotism, but I did serve. And so I think like, what was it worth? And you're saying culture war. I do think we're facing a culture. We're facing a pseudo 60s. It's been manufactured mostly for conflict. But one of the things with the Nietzsche stuff that I'm getting to is like a lot of his viewpoints politically are like democracy is lowest common denominator. It's spreading the butter evenly instead of like propping up the few elites that are like reaching for, like Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar. They reached for places and took society further. And so, I'm kind of questioning, like, God, should everyone vote? I don't know,
Oh, man, I really want to have an IQ test for voters.
Yeah, and parents,
anything.
Yeah,
or do like a caste system where it's like, okay, you can have kids, but they're only going to be peasants. There's no advancement.
No, you're either a citizen or a civilian, man.
Starship Troopers, yeah.
Yes,
but no,
you had the right idea.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Yep.
The culture war is real, but I lament it kind of because it's valid to critique and question the motives of entertainment and their influence. What are you trying to influence as a corporation? But at the end of the day, like the Bud Light stuff, these are like so superficial memes. Even if it's like a cog in the wheel, I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, it makes me angry. I question it, but at the same time, we're reduced to consumerism. We're being reduced to products. Like, oh no, Oreo isn't on my side. Like, why does it matter?
It's become exhausting to try and sort out. How do I ethically exist in this system and not give money to people who hate me? And does it even matter? And I think at the end of the day, you have to realize, or you have to assume, none of these corporations really care about anything. Like, no matter what you buy, you're a victim of something. So just buy the best quality thing you can get for the least amount of money. Okay. If an Oreo cookie tastes good and it's affordable, unless they're donating money to raise Mecha Hitler from the dead, just buy a pack of Oreos. It really doesn't matter.
That's good.
Yeah, like
race mixing cookies.
I was just thinking today because you're talking about Rick and Morty on one of your biggest problems, and I was thinking about Abradolf Linkler today. Just like what a fun concept.
That's a great one.
And then boom, it circled right back to Oreos and race mixing. This is great. But so. Reason you're here is comic stream on Tuesday when I can host people. I like to talk about their comics, pick their brain, and then sidetrack and talk just general interest and whatnot. You are the creator of Superkiller, already successfully funded.
We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, it's such a fun concept. Like, once I've seen you like pitch it and you're a funny guy, so I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm already a fan of his channel. Let's see what he can make. And then I see this wacky concept. It's like Deadpool times 1,000,
I'm wondering if I almost didn't pitch it well enough in my campaign, because when I pitch it on live streams, people go, oh my God, that sounds incredible. I'm like, oh fuck. That did not sound incredible before today, because that's bad. But I also, I struggle because I don't want to give too much of the plot away, but the plot is really fun. So giving away too much of the plot is good as well.
My first impression coming from like a business side is, holy crap, dude, you've hit the jackpot on a property that could literally parody every comic book for years and years to come.
Dude, like honestly, I'm thinking about like you could do crossovers with like, you know, Superkiller tries to kill the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And
Yes!
just like he shows up and it's like, all right, you're in the go kill the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's like, oh, that would be funny. Like, what's gonna happen there? So yeah, there's a lot of the only thing is, for people who don't know my story, it's about a guy who goes, you know, from universe to universe trying to kill superheroes. Is that it's kind of a dark concept, you know, but it's supposed to be a comedy book. It's like a, you know, a dark comedy. So I'm hoping people, you know, get the comedy aspect of it, you know, what we're trying to do there.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Chris, I'll share it. Sorry. I didn't want you to get to be the reliable guy. But yeah, it's cool. We play the trailer and then have a toast. It's a thing we do here. And then we'll let you pick it apart however we want and go for it. So here is the trailer. Oh, man.
And I am the creator of Superkiller. Right there on the hand, you can see it. An exciting new graphic novel that I am so excited to tell you about. But first, I want to tell you guys my story and why this book means so much to me. Now, I currently live in Los Angeles, California, a hellhole of human misery if there ever was one. I moved here 10 years ago with the hopes of making it in the entertainment industry. I wanted to work in Hollywood. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to do so many things. What I quickly learned, though, is that opportunities are not exactly easy to come by out here. There's a big long list of the type of people who get hired in Hollywood right now. And for some reason, fat Italian idiot is not one of the boxes they're looking to check. So after convince these people to give me a shot, I decided to do something which seemed crazy at the time and go independent. I took a big risk on myself, and I'm happy to say it paid off. And I now have a YouTube channel with over 250,000 subscribers. A few years ago, I was able to kickstart my own card game and raised over $10,000 from my extremely awesome backers. Now I can do comedy every single week. Biggest Problem in the Universe podcast, where me and my co-host Dick Masterson say some things we're probably going to get canceled for.
Nobody knows.
No, a bunch of kids.
This sounds like a fucking another crisis actor.
Stop it! Stop it!
Point is, what I've learned is that we no longer need to rely on the mainstream for our entertainment. There is an independent revolution going on right now. And I am so excited to be joining their ranks with my first ever graphic novel, Superkiller. Superkiller is the story of multiversal assassin Sam King, a man with a very important job. See, the multiverse is kind of like a cosmic circuit breaker. Plug in too many worlds, and you risk overloading the entire system and erasing all of reality. Thus, Sam's job is to infiltrate worlds scheduled for cancellation, assassinate their primary hero, and unplug that world from the cosmic stack. Unfortunately for Sam, these heroes aren't going down without a fight. Armed only with his trusty ray gun, Sam must outwit and outsmart some of the most powerful heroes in the multiverse, facing off against alien supermen, night-crawling animal-themed detectives, and even the occasional magical girl. Superkiller is the kind of comic they don't want us to make anymore. It's got stylish, over-the-top violence, it's got a legitimately hilarious plot, and, best of all, it's got sexy ladies in it. Can you believe it? God forbid a red-blooded American man be allowed to read a comic book with a sexy lady in it. Guys, we all know mainstream entertainment sucks now. The movies suck, the TV shows suck, the comic books suck, and the only way to fix it is to create an independent alternative to rival the mainstream. These entertainment companies say there's no room for guys like us, so we're taking their advice and creating our own space. We can show them that there is a market for good storytelling, for funny jokes, for sexy women. These are things that we want. Why did they take them away from us? The mainstream has forgotten how to tell good stories, and it's up to us to show them how it's done.
All those bad memories.
If we do a good enough job, it's a lot of bad shit out there.
Next mainstream.
Wouldn't that be something? Superkiller #1, available now on Indiegogo. I'm so grateful for everyone who's supported me thus far, and I'm so happy that you're joining me on the next step of my creative journey. I promise I won't let you down.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right.
That's an awesome pitch, man.
Yeah, it's so good. It's
See,
funny
people
because
say it's an awesome pitch, and then I'm always second guessing it. I'm like, oh god, did I fuck this up? Is this a good pitch
dude.
or not?
Dude, that you nailed that up. That's out of the park, man. Holy shit.
Well, I really wanted. I think part of the problem I have is that I'm known for like a lot of different stuff, and it's like some people know me from YouTube, some people know me from podcasts, and I want people to like understand, who I am and what I'm doing, I guess. So. Yeah, I figured that was the best way to try and communicate all of that is give my story.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So Vito, do you have a drink available?
I have a beverage here.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be alcoholic. I mean,
Okay.
normally I have wine. I'll tell you about it later, but me and the Rookie Critic, my main bro on Thursday streams, we are actually doing a weight loss challenge for 2 months, calling it Duel of the Fats.
Nice.
Yeah, but without further ado, turn on my camera. It's that time, people. Get your drinks ready. It's time for
The Horn of Ceremony.
Yes, now we drink. I'm having some Pure Leaf unsweet tea.
Tasty.
And now
This concludes the Horn of Ceremony.
we've officially christened this stream. That's actually Chris Fisk that made that audio for me.
That's the strangest request, but all right.
I'm like, hey, bro, can you record this? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, no, I wanted to be stupid, But yeah, let me bring back the page. I got my mouse is screwed. But yeah, so for as little as $25, actually, well, I heard you on stream talking about you're going to put it out digitally. So
yeah,
I
at
don't
some
spoil
point.
that, though. Like,
don't worry about
back to book, give them money, make it worthwhile. But yeah, for as little as $25, you can get one of the 2 main covers.
Absolutely.
For $35.
The tentacle rape cover.
Yeah. Didn't know quite how to put that. Yeah, tentacle rape.
As made by, as I said, Toshio Mita, the Japanese godfather of tentacle porn. I found him, and I had him make me a beautiful cover. He did very good.
Damn.
Yeah, links in the description for people coming in. Description, and I put it in the chat. So you can check out and back Superkiller. So what was your so I'm a novice with comics. Comicsgate actually got me into like reading somewhat consistently.
Yeah.
What were some of the inspirations or like your main things that like are your wheelhouse for comics?
Like just comics in general, or like
yeah.
Well, as I said to on a previous stream, I thinking it was like 95, 96 that I'd always go to the bookstore and what do you call it? That was around the time manga started getting popular, So I was finding stuff like Ranma, and then from there I found Gunsmith Cats. If you ever read that about chicks with guns and cars, which is a great one.
You have my interest.
Yeah, no, Gunsmith Cats is fucking fantastic. There's a couple animated things of that. And Battle Angel Alita was a big one for me, which is a fantastic manga.
Really quick, what did you think of the movie? Because I fucking hated it.
Well, the thing it's weird is that as a completely separate movie, it's like, okay. But as somebody who knows the Battle Angel Alita lore, I'm like, oh, this is a fucking travesty. I'll say this. Remember how she registered as a bounty hunter like partway through the movie?
That was some girl boss Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Okay, so she became a bounty hunter. Who did she bounty hunt?
Yeah, exactly.
No one. It's a bounty hunting movie without any bounty hunting. What the fuck are you doing? All they did was rollerball.
Her dad bounty hunted.
Her dad bounty hunted, but she didn't bounty hunt once after becoming a bounty hunter. It's a manga about bounty hunters. What are you doing?
Sledgehammer in the movie.
He had the he had the sledgehammer.
That was so cringe, by the way. I fell for that movie because of the Menace, the Phantom Menace, Sphere. I guess we don't call ourselves that now for whatever reason, but the Captain Marvel challenge
versus Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and I fell for it, and that's when that was when I first started like, wait a minute, like just because it's not woke doesn't mean
it's good. Yeah, dude, it was like a PG-13. They made it a kids movie, which is crazy because Battle Angel Alita the comic, like in the very first issue, somebody gets like jammed against the wall and their brains splatter on it. And you're like, dude, this is not a PG-13 franchise. This, oh god damn it.
Yeah,
they made a kid-friendly Battle Angel Alita, and it's like, dude, the actual Battle Angel Alita is like fucked up body horror, brains exploding, blood everywhere, and this one is like, I have magic robot roller skates, and I'm like, oh god, what are you fucking doing?
Do you remember Rambo: The Force of Freedom?
Which one was that? Was that the fourth one?
No. So Rambo, first blood, first blood, and he kills freaking Caruso there with the
Yes.
They made a cartoon show for kids with action figures called Rambo: The Force for Freedom.
God damn it.
He's like, wow, he's got a Bowie knife. I don't think that'll ever see use in the cartoon.
Or like how they talk about the TMNT never use their weapons in the cartoon. Yeah. Leonardo's swords are just always on his back.
Well, the British shit themselves when that went overseas. They actually edited the intro and removed all references to Michelangelo's nunchucks. They call them the Teenage Hero Turtles because they couldn't ninja.
Yep, I knew that.
If you can't ever engage with TMNT and you make your own like Invincible universe version, you do like adolescent terrapin.
Super frog.
Adolescence.
I think that could be pretty
obvious.
solid. I think that could be pretty good.
Placid Phoenix. It's been a while, my friend. We gotta hang out again. He says roller skates are based. I don't know about that. I don't know if is that supposed to be political? I don't know. It's just
I don't know. You ever been on Santa
it's a foot
Monica's
vehicle. But yeah, so what was the origins of this book like? How did you start like?
Well, what's interesting is that I actually what do you call it? I came up with this idea like back in high school, which is nutty. Back in high school, I read this manga, and the manga is about, it's called Bokuranu, and it's about what do you call it? It's about a bunch of kids who get chosen to pilot a giant robot against other giant robots, but the other giant robots are from a parallel Earth, and whichever robot loses has their entire universe erased. And also anytime a kid pilots the robot, the kid dies immediately afterwards. It was the most depressing. It's the most depressing fucking thing. You're like, what? Oh, this sucks. Oh, wow. And the kid's like, well, I guess I got to pilot the robot and then I'm going to die. And his friends are like, oh, I hope you win so our universe doesn't get erased. And I'm like, who wrote this? What is wrong with you Japanese fuckers? Jesus Christ. Anyway, so yeah, I remember reading that and being like, God, the idea of battling for your universe's survival is cool. I'm like, what if you did like a superhero version of that? And that, yeah, it's actually an idea I came up with, almost 20 years ago now. But of course, the big hang up was I was like, well, I can't do it because I don't know how to draw. And then at some point I realized, oh, you can pay other people to draw. Oh my God, this is incredible. So yeah, finally I'm able now. I have some money in my pocket, from doing YouTube and whatever else. I was able to find an artist and really flesh this idea out. It also helps that, I've been watching Invincible and The Boys and other kind of bloody superhero universes. Yeah. So I was like, oh man, I remember wanting to do like a bloody weird superhero thing. What was that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, shit, why did I never do that? Well, let's do it. So, definitely been inspired by some of the media that's going on now to dig this old idea out of storage and really make it into a fully fleshed thing.
Oh my God, dude. Like, you could also get your revenge on every property that told you that it no longer wants you as a customer.
Yeah.
You have I'm not Starfire, the fat dumpy self-insert gets nuked by the gun.
There's a lot of there's a lot of universes that would be a ton of fun. One thing about the book is, again, he travels from universe to universe, but if he goes to a universe that's let's say it was ninjas or something, he could have a different version of his costume to fit into that universe and stuff. So there's going to be like cool, you know, alternate costumes and stuff.
Toys. George Lucas.
Yeah, exactly. Ninja Superkiller and Samurai Superkiller and Medieval Knight Superkiller. There's so many options.
No, when I was a kid, so I'm 31. So when I was a kid, Batman and Robin was out, and I didn't get to see it in theater. I would have loved it, because I love Forever. But I remember all the stupid variant Batmans.
Dude, there's
none of it's in this. Like, as ridiculous as that movie is, that none of them make the cut. Which I guess I watched something. These are all sorts of wacky ideas that they were just throwing out there with Bruckheimer. You know, of like, maybe we'll do this. And so that's kind of where the toys came from. But it's just like, what? Why is this a thing? Like, how is this tactical at all?
I remember there's one where Batman just had these giant orange like buzz saws on both his arms, and like, Jesus Christ, can you imagine Batman's coming at you and he's fucking buzz saws on his hands? You're like, oh, what the fuck? What are you gonna do with those? Like, just cut through your head.
I feel like Zack Snyder exclusively probably played with that.
He should have. That would have been it was terrifying.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Totally for kids.
What would be your, if you uncheck copyright issues and whatnot, if you could face Superkiller, write him against any character, which would be like the universe. Prime one?
Man,
it could be universe, property, or just like one single. Like, I want to like challenge Superkiller with that guy.
See, if I was gonna do it as like a big splash, like having him actually fight Batman would be really cool. Like, I'm gonna do some Batman type stuff in the story, I already know, but like having him actually go toe to toe with Batman, because both of them are about like coming up with plans and like at the core of the story, it's really like, you know, how do you kill a superhero? You have to have this elaborate plan, and you have to outwit them, and it's a battle of the minds. So having him go up against like Batman would be pretty cool. I guess that's my knee-jerk answer. I don't know if I have a better one.
Okay. No, it's not bad. Like, Batman's awesome. Like, I'm always arguing with the Rookie Critic because he's an comic guy. And he's like, another Batman. And then we watch it, like, oh, that's good. But I'm like, dude, there's another Batman for a reason, because Batman is
awesome.
Undying, the potential. You know, it's just a guy that can fund technology to fight super freaks, like literal meta-humans. He challenged, like, it's so American. You think about like the core of America, like the French Indian War as a precursor leading into American Revolution, and like, oh yeah, pay taxes, well fuck you. You know, that is Batman. It's, you know, it's the culmination of like Leonidas and individuality, of the American spirit, to spit in the face of a powerful foe. It's undying. As long as America or an idea like us is around, Batman is forever. And you can make him as like retarded, like Adam West and wacky, or you can make him, you know, like the god of detective work with the Justice League, or the you know, like Justice League Doom. Like, there's just so much you can do with him, with people, or by himself. Just like, I was just watching '89 Batman. I'm not a diehard, that's not my Batman, but it's like, this guy just started this after his parents died just to fight criminals, and then like Catwoman and Penguin and Joker pop up after the fact. Like, you can write a story with him just fighting everyday criminals, and you know, so like it's forever. And I get so frustrated. It's like, no, Batman is amazing. Batman and Spider-Man are forever characters.
Yeah, especially I just saw Across the Spider-Verse, and I was like, man, it is really cool that they are kind of like, I think the Spider-Verse is like just really interesting, and I think the idea of all these different Spider-Men is like cool, and I want to see more stuff done with that.
Did you notice? Oh, okay. So, Rookie Critic, we were joking one day about spider people, and we're joking like, dude, they should be funny if they made like a handicapped spider person with like a wheelchair, and they're like wheeling on like the ceiling and stuff with like a spider. And then literally the next day on Twitter, that T. Franklin sun spider or whatever with like hand crutches that like flings her legs and shoots webs out of her crutches comes out, and I'm like, oh my god, did you notice she's in the movie for like a 30 seconds? I'm like, oh my god, they included her in the spider. No, don't give her money, stop it.
T. Franklin has definitely made a thing for herself. I don't know. Did she come up with that character though? I forget who.
I think it was like maybe a fan
think it was a
thing,
fan
like,
art,
like Wolverine. It might be something like that, but then she brought it to life with Marvel.
Hey man,
there's a bunch of Spider Sona stuff going on.
If a fan came up with it, I can't take issue with it. I'm like, that's cool. Good for them.
I don't know. This is the problem with like the oppression Olympics, the victim.
If they got if they got a pregnant spider lady, I gotta go. Yeah, whatever. Fuck it. There's all sorts of
you can still be able-bodied. Like when I watch Avatar, and everyone on my side is crying about pregnant chieftess, whatever, the lead woman of the tribe, and it's like make or break. They're going to annihilate us. It's not crazy. The scenario is not crazy to have the chieftess go.
She had
out
no choice.
Fight. Yeah, exactly. Like the circumstance makes sense, but everyone sees the meme of pregnant Avatar Na'vi fighting. They got triggered on my side, like 90 Comics and all of them are like, oh my god, a pregnant Na'vi. And it's like, you realize James Cameron is like, well, what if we go down the feminist rabbit hole? What's the most feminist thing? And it's like a mother fighting. And it's like, I mean, that's Terminator 2. She just wasn't pregnant.
Also, Avatar is like a super fucking woke movie. Like, it's about saving whales.
Evil white people.
Yeah, evil white people.
See, I think it's evenly woke and conservative because I believe in conservation. If you're into hunting and gun ownership and stuff, you want to preserve wildlife. So it's a human thing of like awareness of like the stewardship of the planet. We are the leading species. We can't just ransack it. So I don't even think of Avatar as woke, even if that's the vein that got him in this trajectory of thought. It's just human. That's why it's made $2 billion, because humanity resonates with that stuff.
Yeah,
of like they want to go back to being tied to nature. We're so stripped bare from nature, unfortunately. That's why that movie resonates. It's not that it's groundbreaking storytelling. It's intrinsic to us. We want to be the Indians in Dance of the Wolves. We want to be with that white guy that returns to the land, not industry. That's why it resonates.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I did like Avatar too. I had a good time.
Oh, it was amazing. God, like I'm watching, I'm like, I know it's Sigourney Weaver with the camera on her face as a 17-year-old version of herself as a Na'vi.
Oh, dude,
but it looks real.
She nailed it. It was so weird.
I like that character. I thought it was cool.
Dude, the close-ups in that movie, I was just like, I wanted to cry watching it, not because I'm like, oh my god, this was the greatest experience, like these weird Twitter posts of like, oh my god, this stupid movie, like The Flash made me exuberant, those type of posts. It was just like, oh my god, like I'm witnessing something so amazing with the art of filmmaking. This is the newest peak we've hit, and it was just like, I was here for it in the theater. I experienced it. I saw it on the silver screen. It was a moment. And then I got out of the theater and talking with strangers like, oh my god, that was so good.
I learned so much. The way of the Na'vi. I feel like I'm one with them.
Yeah. And hey, what's up, Edwin? Edwin was on last week for METH Gator Presents. Cool looking I'll show you that link too later, Vito.
Nice.
You're gonna be spending money on this stream with some of the stuff we're showing you.
Ooh. I'm excited.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were about to say something.
No, I got nothing.
So what was it like? You got this idea and then you're like, oh, I can pay artists and I have money to do so. What was
having money is great. I'll say that.
Right. What
I don't have that much money, but if I had more, I'd be happy.
Like, what were you looking for? Like, what was the hunt for an artist like for you?
Well, I went, there's a Facebook group, like connecting artists and people or whatever, connecting writers and artists. And I just dug forever. Like, I think his post was like a year old because I just kept scrolling. I'm like, this guy sucks, 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 this guy sucks. Oh, and then I finally was like, oh my God, this guy's fucking incredible. So I was all excited when I found it. Yeah. So luckily I found him and I reached out. I'm like, hey man, like everybody else sucks. Do you want to draw my comic? And luckily he seemed to really like the idea. Now I don't know if he was just putting me on, or he's like, yeah, what a cool idea, man. I'm like, oh, he might just be lying to me. He might think it's fucking
if
stupid.
you interview him, it's like, what made you take on Vito's work? And it's like, money.
Yeah.
Mr. Krabs.
Money. But yeah, he said he was really into the idea. So yeah, luckily I got him on. And then honestly, like the first couple sketches he turned out, I was like, yeah, you're just like, he nailed it right out. Even the cover we have is like an image he came up with like over a year ago. It was like one of the first images he put out. And I'm like, I want that to be the cover right there. The one of him jumping at the camera. So yeah, it's just, he nailed exactly what I wanted and it looks great. And I'm very excited to be working with this guy.
No,
and he's Mexican, so I have diversity in my comic.
All right,
you're Italian. You're the Italian stallion of comics, my friend.
Oh, that's true. I'm the Italian.
Yeah. I had something elaborate planned like a week ago. I was gonna like, oh, without further ado, this and that, the Italian stallion of comics, Vito Gesualdi, and I totally forgot it.
Well,
but no, I was gonna have this elaborate thing. You know who Larry Elder is, right?
Yes.
So when I first left the army, I started getting into like the YouTube political red pill wormhole, if you will.
Yeah.
I'd watch some Shapiro and whatnot here and there. And then Dave Rubin came up and he had an interview with Larry Elder. And he was talking about you can't legislate race relations. And he's against like Civil Rights Act and stuff. And I was like, wow, it's so interesting because everyone's just kind of indoctrinated. Like, that's good. We got to do that. And totally new perspective, regardless if you agree. And he's like, well, when I was a kid, I think he's saying Chicago, he's like, us black kids, we didn't go to Little Italy because the Italians didn't like us. So they'd spit in our food. So we didn't eat there. But then we became a bigger demographic and they want our money. So they started playing nice. You know, it's like, that's how you deal with race issues. You don't like force them together when they hate each other. And it's like, huh, interesting. And I don't know, I had something elaborate plan like that of like, actually, we should bring back racial strife like that. And
we could already have
Superkiller. Rip-a-verse. You gotta go.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
There was like, he's racist. You know, I'm like, really?
Honestly, dude, that like honestly, like what I got from that is I know it was like it was kind of funny and everything, but like that would be freaking awesome because it's almost an advertisement for anybody, for any book that you do, like you get an indie or whatever, like you shine a light on, you kill their main character or their story. That's advertisement. You know what I mean? Like you messed up their character, but it's like, guess what, dude? Like if you liked that universe, we got the real deal over here. Like you got to see a little snack of it.
It's been pretty funny. Yeah. Obviously, I disavow any fan art.
I love that fan art. Like legitimately, that's hilarious because like, you know, generally on the right, we're on the side of like anti-BLM, back the blue. I don't back the blue. I hate both sides. But, you know, with that whole argument, it's like everyone's kind of leaning on Derek Chauvin. And that'd be a meme from our side. People like Amazing Lewis attacked Ryan Kinnell for his joke pointing to like a Simpsons statue.
Right,
like a guy saying, it's George Floyd, and it's like, see, that's shit we laugh at, but then one of our black people has that joke on them, and no. That's where I'm like, whoa. I thought we loved comedy. I thought
exactly.
Dave Chappelle it's like it goes both ways. You know,
it has been funny that some people are like, well, you can't critique whatever for or you can't critique Vito and Dick for making those jokes. I thought we loved those jokes. Yeah, it is funny that the Rippaverse is going after people being like, oh, they're racist, they hate Eric because he's black. I'm like, I don't hate Eric because he's black, I hate him because he's dumb and black. No, wait, just because he's dumb.
Yes.
Oops. No. I love all black people.
Oh no, I know you're like, if anything, I'm like, it's okay for people to be racist, Vito. You know. Like look at I would say the last great generation of black people culturally in America was when we were segregated or fighting it and fighting the systemic, I hate that word, but the systemic reality of that, the obstacles. We had something to strive for. And then the government just gave us everything, generally pointed at us. And look where we're at now. You know, it's like, oh, Obama. And it's like, where's the next great black guy? you know, regardless if you like Obama, that's a huge accomplishment racially.
Yes.
You know, for a black guy to be voted by a 60+% white nation as the president to get the nuke codes. That's like racism's over, you know? And oh God, look what happened, you know?
No, dude, that's the thing though. It's like we've transformed racism. I mean, a joke or just like saying mean things or whatever, that's not really racism. Racism is when you're not allowed to do business or like, you know, you're killed because of your skin color or something. Like,
or it's like count the jelly beans if you want to vote. You know, guess them in the jar.
Yeah, well, like honestly, like I experienced my first like anti-Semitism thing when I was in my 30s, so I guess I'm grateful for that. But like all the time of growing up, you know, I got nobody knew what Korean was because I'm mixed. So like Korean and Jew, go figure, huh? I mean, that's basically Elliot Rodger. But yeah, so so you know, I got it everything. I had somebody say, you know, the Koreans are the Jews of the Orient. I'm like, oh great, like thanks, you know,
cool.
But like that whole like all the jokes are like, so do you like do kung fu and shit? I'm like, dude, I'm Korean. We do taekwondo. What the hell is
kung
that?
Jew?
Yeah, they're like, I don't like, you know, for the longest time growing up, nobody knew what Koreans were. Apparently that wasn't cool until K-pop. Everybody thought Koreans were like the other Asian. So it was always like you're either Chinese or Japanese or like Vietnamese or something. So, you know, like they're like, you're just making that shit up. Like, you know, somebody actually called it cream. They said, my buddy told me you're cream. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I don't know. Like, why are you telling me that? But yeah, like that never really bothered me until, you know, all of a sudden it's like, if you don't like white people, it really scares me when I see how much crap is being leveraged at white people. And as somebody that's quote unquote white passing, it's the strangest sensation because I worked out in California and, you know, I was in that belly of the beast too for a while, man. I feel for you. But I was getting like all this, well, you know, like I got my ass kicked once. I got beaten up and they're like, oh, well, you know, you're lucky you weren't black or whatever. And I'm like, well, no, you're lucky you're white. I'm like, well, what does that have to do with any of this? It was like, well, it could have been worse. And I'm like, how do you, what? And then like one day I had pictures on my my desk and people walked by and they're like, were you like adopted or something? Because there's like a bunch of Asian people in these photos. I'm like, no, that's my family. And they're like, oh. And then all of a sudden I started getting treated like I was retarded or something. They're like, oh.
Wait, if I found out someone was Asian, I wouldn't treat them like they're retarded. I'd be like, hey, can you do my taxes for me?
Right.
Yeah,
I would have the opposite reaction.
Boy.
Yeah, either do math-based skills or cook me cuisine.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
two go-tos.
Jewish and
can you make
Asian
me a neuterer? No, I cannot make you neuterer. Ah, I want neuterer. Most powerful neuter is from Asia. That is what I want.
Didn't that comedian get canceled from like SNL?
Yeah, exactly.
For saying what his girlfriend said.
Way hilarious.
Yeah, and that dude. That's
it was Shane Gillis got canceled for saying he wanted neuterer.
Well, like when Jerry Seinfeld, who's the most saccharine of stand-up comedians, is terrified to do his routine stand-up in like universities and stuff, you know, comedy is pretty much outlawed now.
Yeah, dude, it's
well, dude, we got the Joker because of that. You know, because Todd Phillips like, I can't do something like The Hangover again. You see Twitter, like
he's like, I'm not allowed to make that shit.
Yeah, it honestly, it's obviously like a Taxi Driver inversion of like villain instead of a hero. Like that, it was funny because like I've been saying for years after that movie, like, well, like it's not groundbreaking because it's just Taxi Driver, but I feel like he, you know, utilized the skin of comic books in their, you know, heyday right after Endgame to be like, ooh, well, what if we do Taxi Driver with you know, Batman and Joker, you know?
Ooh.
Then everyone's like, oh yeah, it's so great, and it's like you would not watch this if it was just a straight indie film. That annoys me, but I'm glad it made money to maybe give people experience. It's funny because I seen one of those biggest problem streams where y'all were saying it. I'm like, oh, finally, someone else says it. Thank God. Like,
yeah.
It's so irritating. But what's funny is like, I don't know if you pick up on it, but I feel like he's kind of commenting on social media and Twitter where it's like, you got all these people LARPing as the clown in the world, but then Joker takes off and he's actually this person. This is who he is, and everyone else is kind of LARPing. And I don't know, it's just a lot of meta commentary there that I don't think people pick up on.
Yeah, there's definitely Joker is a more complex film than people maybe give it credit for.
Yeah. You guys ever see the oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I really enjoyed that movie. Everybody's really sure that Joker 2 is gonna suck though because Lady Gaga's in it. I'm like, I don't know.
Lady Gaga's a good actress, and when she did the Super Bowl, because she's pop, Poker Face, and Judas and whatnot.
Yeah.
Pussy Wagon with Beyonce, which I think are fun pop songs. Honestly, it's like finally we got like a star again, like Madonna.
Yeah.
When she did the Super Bowl anthem, it's like, oh, she's actually an artist. Okay.
Ooh.
And then it's like, oh, she's gonna be Harley Quinn. Todd Phillips, who did this amazing film with Bradley Cooper producing. Like, yes,
I think it could be good. Call me crazy.
I'm not a musical guy, but like I love Wizard of Oz. And if they can have that kind of magic in its own way,
yeah,
and also be dark, DC, demented. I'm totally for it. I'm open to like new experiences. I don't want, that's the problem now. We're seeing the same old shit, Flash, Spider-Verse kind of breaks the mold for where we're at right now. But Ant-Man, there's some other crap that came out recently. Craven's coming out. That looks like crap. Like,
yeah, when did he have American accent? What the hell's going on with that?
I don't care about that. It's just like, if you're not making a superhero film, like Winter Soldier's a great one, Logan, like something different, breaking the mold, not just being like, I got powers and we do wacky stuff, and I don't know. It's just that's people aren't tired of superhero movies. People are tired of bad superhero movies.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. Like that's really what it comes down to. Is that people are just it's too much of a glut. There's been too many of those stupid fucking movies at this point.
Yeah, I'm afraid that like aside from indie stuff or outside the box like The Boys and Invincible, people are the studio's just gonna back off completely and not take chances. Like Guardians is really like kind of breaking the mold film for the time it came out. And who the hell's James Gunn at the time? He did Super, which is a great film, but no one knows it.
Well, they've tried to like I guess, like I want to say they've tried to experiment, like letting Sam Raimi kind of do like a horror thing with Doctor Strange. It just wasn't that good. It should have honestly been more of a friggin' horror movie than it was. And then Ant-Man was just complete dog shit. And Taika Waititi being like, oh, it's so funny. Everything's so funny. I'm like, you're not that funny, dude.
I don't know how old it is. Did you see
Pity
that
laughs.
clip? Did you see that clip going around of Taika at some, I think, film gathering? He's talking about diversity, and he's like, oh, yeah, they're trying to, like, plug in X, Y, and Z demographics and make it, like, a total catch-all. Like, the Oscars
he actually did have something to say where he's like, you can just make a movie about white people. It's fine. I think he was saying. I'm like, oh, good. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thanks for the permission.
Well, honestly, look, man, we need more black guys to get out there or whatever, different people of different colors going, listen, man, can we stop obsessing over diversity? This is getting stupid.
Right. Well, when you call Black Panther, which is like all black and then one white guy, diverse.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's a black movie. Yeah,
100%.
It's irritating. That movie really pisses me off, honestly, because like they really undercut Black Panther, when he's in Civil War. It's awesome. Like I want to see more of that guy.
Yeah.
And then but Black Panther's such a confused character for the media because he's made for Black Americans, but he's an African and he's like a super, affluent, the best society ever. But then they LARP his third world country.
Yeah,
it's like
ethno-nationalist.
That's the best you could come up with. Is like, yeah, we just pretend to be third world.
It's so hard to be Black Panther living in this extremely developed,
oh my god,
technological society.
That's the other thing.
Me colonizer.
Black Panther.
Colonizer.
Also like the narrative is really reflected back at America of like, just because it works doesn't mean it can't be better. It's very obvious subtext there.
Yeah.
But it's just confusing. Who's it for? Because it's like, oh, Africa, we're going to like showcase and make this like pseudo super African amalgamation for Black Americans. We're 400 years removed from that, like we're not African anymore. We're American.
You don't call white people European Americans.
And then all the music is rap, And it's like, do Africans listen to that? I'm sure there's rap in Africa. Like, I like Diane. They're white, by the way, but
yeah,
you know, it's like it's muddled. And then also the template, like Black Panther will be Black Panther regardless if there's conflict, or there will be a Black Panther regardless of conflict. It's a mantle. It's not like Spider-Man, where it's like, I'm an objectivist character and I got to do it because it's right, because I have the power. I have to. And my life sucks because I'm Spider-Man. I can't have a successful relationship with anybody because I got to lie to him and go out. Is just a king who gets superpowers, and then he can choose. And then, like, it's also like, oh, you killed Wakandans in Lagos, Nigeria, so we're gonna do the Accords. But then Black Panther can go run amok in South Korea, unrestrained, unvetted by other governments. You know, it's like, what is this? No wonder. No, and then Boseman dies. So yeah, your movie deserved to flop.
Honestly, I really liked the rumor I heard where they were like, we're going to bring Killmonger back to life. And I was like, that kind of makes sense to have him be Black Panther. And he would be a more American type character and get rid of this weird African. Like, that's what I don't understand. Why do Black Americans identify with? I mean, I guess I kind of identify. At one point when I was a kid, I was into like European like knights and that kind of thing, you know, like fantasy.
Yeah, it's
worlds.
Your ancestry.
Yeah, like, but at the end of the day, like, I don't really take it that seriously.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But white people aren't called Euro Americans. You know what I mean? Why do we call Black? You know what I mean? That's like,
yeah,
it's getting to the point where we're splitting hairs. Where, and not only that, but like, there's so many, like, most African Americans are so race mixed, anyways, that half their ancestry is European. So it's like, what is your, like, if you've ever seen an African next to an African American, they're like, you do not represent us, you know? Like,
right. That's the thing, is like, when I was in the Army, everyone, you know, it's pretty colorless, but then for the most part, unless you get, you know, I would just to put out a meme of understanding, like, you know, coons, if you will. Besides them, like, the Black people all kind of self-segregate. Everyone else is like mixing and having fun. Black people always congregate together. They self-segregate. They're not part of the team. They're not colorblind.
Psyop.
It's a weird, it's implicit in the culture, you know, of Black Americans. It's weird. Like,
well, when you're told, like,
from my
experience, try to act
experience, smart,
when you try to act intelligent or speak eloquently or whatever, you're acting white.
Right. Yeah. I got a guy who grew up in Chicago at work that he goes back home and like, oh, you acting white. You know, it's like a neg. It's like, oh man, I have a job and I pay taxes and I have a mortgage. Oh man, I'm being white.
You damn whitey. Yeah. He's like,
crack-a-lackin'.
I'm just trying to be myself, man.
Yeah, like,
I never understood a Black American collectivism. It was like, yeah, we're Black, we have to do it. And it's like, have you seen Africa? You're talking about like a half and half, well, like, let's say 45-45 split of Christian and Muslim, and then you got tribal warfares within that, where like, we're the same race, but you're like the wrong sub race. To get Rwanda or Somalia, for instance. And then you got the tribal people that are like, you know, pagan and uncivilized. You know, I don't mean that as a negative. They're tribal. They're out in the boonies.
Gods must be crazy.
It's like, what do you? No, I'm not going to be on your team because of your skin. That's so stupid, you know. Like,
yeah, it really is bizarre that it gets boiled down to that. Where I go, you know, they don't even sound like you in that Black Panther movie. I'm actually surprised there hasn't been like some movement in America to be like, speak more African. You know, go, well, yeah, welcome to my Wakanda village. You know, and
it's pretty good actually.
I had to nail it in for a second, but yeah, I'm surprised there isn't like something like that where they're really taking from those cues of like, well, this is how we should speak, obviously. I don't know, man. It's fucking weird.
Will Superkiller kill any Black people?
I think that'll probably happen at some point. I can't say exactly how, but I think you could see something like that taking place.
I don't know if you saw. I haven't read it.
Brown Lantern.
There was a setup in, I guess, Avengers, where Black Panther's friend becomes a terrorist, and so Captain America's leading them. And he's like, "We're taking it out," and Black Panther's like, "No, let me deal with it." He's like, "No, we're squashing this." So then they come to blows, and there's a scene like, you know, panel showing us like Captain America kicks his ass, and he's like holding him by the neck, about to like punch him, and people were triggered by this because a black man's getting beat up by Captain America. It's like, I don't wait. So, like, why would I want to read the character if he's got he can only get beat up by other minorities? Like, it's like he's part of the team, but then he's also a nationalist, head of state for his own nation. So he's got conflicting allegiances. That makes for good conflict. Like superheroes are better when they're fighting each other on the same team than even their villains usually. And you got like a good conflict build there. But you beat up a black guy. And it's like now I don't want to read your shit because now it's like I gotta have a diversity shield for them.
There's a great
animated stuff. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. The animated witch.
Yeah, so you know how so Marvel and DC were always like in competition between their movies and their animated stuff. Yeah. And like they kind of had like the opposites where a lot of the live action stuff on DC kind of sucked, but their animated stuff was freaking amazing. And then the opposite was like the live action stuff in Marvel was pretty good at making bank, but their animated stuff was terrible. And there was a huge stipulation on the animated side for Marvel, which was you cannot depict a female character being struck by a male villain or hero or whatever. So in any combat scenario where there was ever like mixed sexes, the guy would either throw the character or the punch would be off screen.
It
was like, that is so stupid. Like
that's terrible.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's if you guys have you heard of X-Statix, the comic? You can say no. They took over from the X-Force.
That's kind of I think I've seen the imagery. Again, I'm a novice, so
it's okay. They have this guy named the Anarchist on his team, and he's a black guy, and he's super like about black power. So at one point, he's fighting with Captain America, and just like lecturing him about white guilt. And Captain America's like, "Man, will you shut up and just fight me?" He's like, "Listen, you cracker ass motherfucker." He's like, "I'm not here to try and." Oh God, I gotta bring it up now. I gotta find it. I have it saved somewhere.
Yeah, you share.
Chris Rock's voice. Cracker.
Well, because they're also fighting in like it's like a Polynesian like land or like an island or whatever. And Captain America, I think, is like smashing into like some statues, and all the natives are like, "Oh my God." And the Anarchist is like, "See, look at you, white man, destroying all their fucking statues and shit." It's like, "You don't care about anything. You're an imperialist." He's like, "I'm not an imperialist. Stop. Shut up."
See, okay, like shit like that. How old is this?
This was from God. I forget when the comic was published. Let me see. Is there a date on here? I want to say it's from like 2004. Okay.
So if that came out today, you'd instantly see woke Marvel Comics.
Exactly. No, honestly, when people complain about woke Marvel for comics, I always go, "Man, I wish X-Statix was coming out right now because they would hate it."
X-Men, X-Men, the films are the main thing, even though, it gets to the spirit. It's like the culturally significant subtext is like gay marriage, in the X-Men films. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
But it's still good, like there's films like Django, Nightcrawler, the X-Men. I'm sure there's more I can't think of right now. Avatar, they have a woke leaning, a woke perspective, but they're not like belittling you, the audience. They're just telling you a perspective. But today people can't see the difference, or they'll cast a gay person. Oh man, wokeness. If Wolverine came out today, they'd be like, Warner Brothers promotes sodomy by casting Sir Ian as Gandalf, like
yeah.
Dude, I thought he nailed that role.
Here, I can share my screen real quick if you want to click on my thing.
It gets irritating.
Yeah.
All right, so here he is fighting Captain America. Captain America says, "Stand down or I'll beat you black and blue." Oh, black and blue? Nice one, Captain Sensitive. Don't turn this into a race issue. A black guy fighting a white guy? How can that not be a race issue? And he goes, "This is about dupe, pure and simple." Just going about. He's like, "You're speaking white noise." White what?
This is honestly hilarious because it's like, oh my God, it's an insufferable douchebag. Just kick his ass. Like,
yeah, right here. Okay, so here, the head of the statue falls off, and Captain America starts apologizing to all the natives. He goes, folks, I want you to know that, I'm just not some brash American trampling over the customs of indigenous people. And he comes and kicks him in the face and goes, white liberal guilt! That's going to be the downfall of your kind. Captain America's
hilarious.
Busy trying to apologize for destroying a priceless artifact. He's like, your fucking liberal guilt has you distracted, idiot. This sticky, sweaty goo will keep you tied up long enough for you to chew over the imperialist crimes of your race. But then all the natives beat him up because they're like, listen, Alucard, we want American money. Like, fuck you. And he's like, what do you mean? And they're like, you're gonna ruin it. You're gonna all the tourists aren't gonna come here. So they end up beating him up for interfering. Yeah.
Oh my god! Really quick, have you seen? There's a clip going around, or maybe a week old. It's probably buried now in the ether of the internet. But I saw a clip of freaking Jamaicans are like, yeah, we don't want Black Americans at our facilities because you destroy the place.
And it's hilarious because it's Black Jamaicans saying it that they're like, we don't want Black Americans. And you're like, well, Black people can't be racist, so this is fine. Like that's the rule, right?
Bumper clap.
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at with when I was in the army. It's like, okay, it's like you pick your poison. You don't know how it's going to be with a black guy in your ranks. He's going to be like this guy in the comic, but you get like a non-American black person, Haitian and African that wants to be American, and do their service,
integrate
citizenship. They want to integrate. They want to be American, even though they got their own identity and stuff. They want to be on the team. That's the difference, and that's like something I've noticed culturally. As I'm mixed, so I don't really have a team. So I feel fairly objective about that stuff, and I see it where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna hang with the white people because like, this is no.
Well, you know what? There's some great black guys out there. I think.
There's like
there's bad people among all groups.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Totally.
I think culturally, I feel bad for the black community because I think there are, a lot of great black guys, but just a lot of the culture has been really negative and really, we're, I don't know. I don't know what it is that, where I guess you feel like it's so hard to talk about these topics.
Well, it's okay. Let the non-whiteys do it.
Well, I just want a culture where, like, young black kids feel elevated and feel like, hey, I can be, I can start a business, I can have whatever opportunity. But like so often you see them and they're like, nah, I'm fucked, and the system's against me, so I'm gonna, shoplift, and I'm gonna get into guns and get into crime. And you're like, that sucks. Don't do that. Just, I think they're just down on their situation and they don't see a better way out of it.
That stuff really annoys me because it's like, you see what like our grandparents in before as like the Black Collective. What like they actually couldn't go to certain water fountains. They had to go to the back of KFC if they wanted chicken.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Our grandparents and before faced actual problems, and it's now if you're black, you can get a lot of perks. You can get funneled through the school system being subpar.
Society wants to give you a leg up. Like, we really want you to succeed. And
our government doesn't, though. Like, our government sabotaged Black Americans is a dress rehearsal for the rest of the country. Like, getting fathers out of the homes, like promoting failure and violence and castigating success. Like I've actually heard being punctual is a white supremacist thing. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, dude, if you've ever had a black
white
boss,
people
you
care
better
about
be there.
that. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's the white man trying to keep you down. Oh, all right.
But it's like the biggest dangers, the biggest threats to a young black man in the city is another black man. It's not Whitey McWhite. He's not going to be the one that's screwing you. When was the last video you saw on Twitter of a gang of white guys
beating up a black guy? Yeah. I mean, look, I understand there's probably some systemic stuff where like maybe it's harder to get a job. I don't fucking know. But at the end of the day, most white people I meet are honestly like bending over backwards. Like, man, we want black people to succeed. We just, I don't know, man. It's hard. Especially, in media or whatever. I mean, if you're a black guy trying to make it as a writer or creative in Hollywood or whatever, like, we love diversity. We're always trying to hire you fucking guys.
Do you see the Oscars announcement for the the best.
Well, that was actually old. I don't know why that came out just now. Like
it's new to me. I know there was stuff before. This sounds like
we were talking about this like 2 years ago on Biggest Problem. It was actually one of the problems I brought. I think I brought up forced diversity in film was one of my first problems on Biggest Problem. We actually brought this up specifically.
It's like you can't get nominated for Best Picture if you don't have a black, handicapped, trans, lesbian.
Yeah, BAFTAs did that too.
You know, a Mexican. And
right. The arguments everyone's making is that it's not impossible. Like meeting the, like, you know, it basically says like, okay, if you're, you know, working with suppliers, you know, some of them should be black guys, or like some of your lighting guys should be black guys. I don't know. It's like, yeah, you could, you know, you can make the argument that it's not hard to hit those quotas or whatever. But I also just think it doesn't need to be codified into a document. It should just be like, listen, man, if you're hiring lighting guys for the film, like hire the best lighting guy. Don't worry about the color of his skin, or hire whoever gives you the best quote or whatever.
Sounds like you want to repeal the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That kind of breaks the law. The Civil Rights Act says you can't hire or discriminate based on race. So wouldn't
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you shouldn't discriminate based on race. You should just get, you know, whoever you feel is right for the job. And hopefully at the end of the day, that includes, you know, everybody, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think
the
infection from a certain Asiatic area has compounded this problem for my generation and younger, because, you know, now we've gotten a lot of people that have been sitting on their ass. They've been paid by the government to not contribute to, you know, the workforce.
I mean, I'm all about universal basic income, honestly. The problem is that we got to get people motivated about something. Like, honestly, I don't even care if you get a job. I really don't. I think we could find a way to have universal basic income. But I would hope that instead of getting a job, that the, you know, free hours you have are contributed to bettering society in some other way, even if it's just taking care of your kids. Like, I don't see any problem in, you know, giving a mother welfare, because I go, well, at the end of the day, you know, I gotta hope that whatever amount of, you know, parenting she's giving that kid, make sure that kid doesn't, you know, kill themselves or kill somebody else, benefits me just as much as if she had went out and got a job. My hope, you know. But
yeah, I totally see that. But
ultimately, that's not how it. Yeah, well, the reason it doesn't happen is
it's great on paper.
Well, first of all, I don't know. I think there just continues to be economic insecurity even when you're on welfare, where you're still living at like poverty levels.
The problem with welfare is that it was meant to be like a leg up to stabilize you to go the next step forward.
Yeah, temporary.
But like when I was married, you know, I have a couple kids, and we had some food assistance, even though we were both working, because we still fit like the parameters for some assistance for food. Yeah. It's like, if I make too much, then we don't get that. And
then
so
we don't get
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like this actually incentivized going down the totem pole instead of like trying to boost you up.
Which must be on purpose, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. Dependent on the government.
Yeah.
Right. And that's,
there's a thing right now that I saw where disabled people, it's like you can't get married because you lose all your benefits, because your disability income is based on, you know, your income. So as a disabled person, you go, well, I make no money. And the government goes, okay, you get full benefits. But then if you marry a girl, if she works, you know, even if she's only making $40,000, all of a sudden the government goes, well, you guys are making $40,000. We're not giving you any money, which is stupid. It's like, you know, I think it's just, if the guy's not working, give him disability. You know, yes, if his wife makes $200,000 a year, okay. But ultimately, I'm not too worried about her income. You know, this guy can't work, hook him up or whatever.
Very good commentary, Elizabeth emoji.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of why I like the Heinlein approach, you know, the Starship Troopers, where if you're going to go the UBI route, fine, but you're a taker. You're not a contributor. You're basically,
you don't guarantee
you. Yeah, you don't get to vote. You don't get to own property. You don't get to run for public office.
Get all these old people, remove their right to vote, because they're all voting for whoever's boosting Social Security and
well, that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah. Get rid of fucking old people voting if they're not contributing. If they're this is for everybody in general, but yeah, old people are. I was just talking about this today. It's like old people are fucking suck on the system, and they vote that way, and I don't blame them because it's self-preservation. But it's because we have a system that is like pitting them of like, well, I can't afford my, living in the nursing home because the Social Security goes into that fund or what, it's like, it's just,
there's no reason to not vote in a way that fucks everybody else and benefits only you. That's the real problem of democracy is that it doesn't come down to voting for the best possible solution. It comes down to voting for the most selfish solution at all times.
Yeah, altruism is a fictional term.
Yeah, nobody is practicing it, and anyone who is probably an idiot for doing so.
Yeah.
Speaking of altruism,
which would be fun to change. It would be fun to like make it so we care about ourselves and our neighbors, but at this point, I don't fucking know how you accomplish that.
Speaking of altruism, I know you get a lot of heat, and everyone that comments. Being lefties usually gets a lot of heat for their anti Mr. Beast commentary, but I'm actually right there with you. It may be for a different reason, but for me, I see this Mr. Beast stuff, and I'm like, I watched his Rogan interview. It's very interesting, and it's like, okay, and then I see all this charity stuff, like 1,000 people cured of blindness, and shoes, and here's a car as a tip, and it's like, there's this weird dichotomy where it's like if you just are charitable and don't say anything, then no one else is like getting on the I want to be like that guy. Cool, Tom Brady does this, or the NFL makes you go do charity events because part of your job, and that gets attention, so it gets more money into the pot for the charity. So like you need the publicity, but then there's also like, well, you do it individually because it's like it makes you feel good. Like look how good I am, and that's just the fact of the matter.
I think stupid people admire the kind of figures who avoid all conflict. Let's be clear. Mr. Beast has never had a political opinion on anything. He's never said, I support this, I support that. Unless it comes down to something that is not a political opinion. I don't want people to be blind. Oh, so brave. So fucking brave.
Controversial.
So when it comes down to it, I go, if you really admire somebody who essentially, let's be clear, Mr. Beast has political opinions. Like he has, he must. He's a human being. He has things that he thinks. He has ideas about how the world should be run, but he doesn't tell you them because that would make you have to make a choice about whether you liked him or disliked him, therefore lowering his overall likability and making it so he can't make as much money from you. Mm-hmm. And some people go, well, I just love a guy who never talks about politics, is never real with me, is constantly playing a character of the ultimate everyman who has no political opinion or whatever else. I ultimately go, that kind of person to me seems like a coward. I think it's far more interesting. I think it's far more admirable people who go out and are honest about who they are and what they believe, who don't hide it to create this like fake. And that's what I talked about when I broke down like a little bitch crying. Is I don't want to be one of these guys. I would have a much easier time on YouTube if I just identified the popular opinion and repeated it. If I identified the controversial issue and never talked about it. But then at the end of the day, why am I here? Am I here just to play this fake version of myself who has no opinions on anything and just exist to be a dancing clown for money? Yes, there's some of that, and I like being a dancing clown and it's fun, but I also want to be real with my audience. I want to be a real person. I want to connect with you on a real level, not as a cartoon character. Mr. Beast is a cartoon character of a person. You don't know. None of us know Mr. Beast. None of us talk to Mr. Beast. None of us know anything about this guy other than, well, he's a good guy and he helps the blind. Motherfucker, everybody is a good guy who would help the blind. If you gave me a bunch of blind people and said I could, click a button and fix their blindness, I would do the exact same thing. So at the end of the day, what has he done that is so admirable and wonderful? I don't get it.
No, it's interesting. Like you have a whole deeper context, especially as a YouTuber that's had some success. I look at it as just like this guy, it's whatever money he makes. He's like, well, I'm throwing it back into paying people to translate my shit to. It's like I just look at him as someone gaming the system, where it's like I'm doing the algorithm and I'm finding the most wacky ways to get seen.
That's the gaming the algorithm. He says, all my actions are not based out of any desire to create any great art or any great content. I am specifically existing to identify what the most popular thing at the moment is and execute upon it. Squid Game is trending. I'll make a video where everybody does Squid Game. You know, this is helping stupid homeless people is trending. Okay, I'll run around and I'll throw money at homeless people. It's also the stupidest, most insidious How is anyone impressed by a guy just throwing money at poor people? Like anyone could do that. It takes no forethought or planning or creativity whatsoever. Again, I'm just not impressed by it. And I guess that's why I go nuts. Is I go, why are people so like, oh my God, Mr. Beast is so smart? I'm like, no. He just realized he's likable, jumped on, you know, a very obvious little trend platform, and is riding it into the sunset. I don't know. I don't get anything out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's not popular on my side, but yeah, I don't like him because I feel like kind of like what you're saying, but in a different way. I just think like, well, he's because of all the money he's throwing away at all these things. Sure, he's giving people jobs, he's helping people in whatever way, but I think, you know, it's just to stroke his ego. Even if it's not the charity, it's just like I'm the big guy. You know, it's like chasing like PewDiePie. I don't know if he's bigger than PewDiePie now or what. I don't care about that shit. But like at the end of the day, I think his payoff's just like the fame of it. It doesn't matter if he like still stays in like his small house or whatever.
It's fame at any cost. He wants to be
right. That's why I'm like,
yeah,
I don't like this guy. You know, like I can learn from him. I can appreciate like, okay, this is like the things that he focused on to grow. And
like if he genuinely was like, oh, well, you know, I want to help poor people and I want to help the underprivileged, it's like, then he should have went to medical school. You should have,
or he should have went to like the priesthood or something like that, being a Buddhist
there's
monk.
Plenty of people doing that every day, but that's not what you care about. You care about being famous. And I honestly have far more respect for somebody who goes, I want to be famous and I'm just going to make like, you know, stupid comedy videos and whatever else, than someone who goes, oh, look how many people I'm helping. Oh, I'm such a good person. I'm like, yeah, okay.
There's a charity.
Just donate. You know what? Donate the money to charity. Put out a press release. But no, it's content. You want to make a video about it because that's your brand. I don't know. It's not the most insidious thing in the world. Look, is he a criminal against the state? No, I'm just not impressed. I go,
not
okay.
that you know of.
Not that I know of. And I honestly go, if I want to support a creator, there's creators out there who are more honest and more real, and I feel like I'm connecting with a real person. When I watch a Mr. Beast video, again, I feel like I'm watching a cartoon character. It's a guy pretending, I've never had a political opinion in my life. I'm just a weirdo who gives away money. I'm like, tell me what you think about the Jews. Mr. Beast, make a video telling me how you feel about the Jews. I want to know.
Shut
do you like them? Do you not like them? Are you going to donate to Israel? Having any opinion.
Well, I mean, all the taxes he's paying is already going to Israel, so.
Oh, yeah. There you
go. It's so facto. He supports Israel.
Whether you like it or not, the money goes to me.
Yeah, no, I see crap like this, or like I don't know, even Mr. Blippi is like better than fucking Mr. Beast.
Yeah, well, Mr. Blippi gets away with it because Blippi's for kids. Like, I don't expect you to be a political figure if you're like, you are literally a cartoon at that. That's like, I'm not asking Barney the dinosaur to have political opinions, okay? But if you're technically, you know, you're a grown man who makes adult that is consumed by breathing, thinking human beings, I think you owe it to your audience to be a real to go on a podcast and go, well, here's how I think about this political issue. Honestly, I'm so glad that part of his team came out as trans, because for the first time, Mr. Beast had to be slightly controversial and say, I support, you know, my trans co-host or whatever, and everybody stopped with the hate. And even got some pushback on that. And people were like, oh, well, now you're promoting it to kids and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, at least he had to fucking take a stance for once in his life. That must have been very uncomfortable for him to do. But
I totally forgot about that, because I don't care about fuckers like that. I see this and I'm like, oh, why am I seeing it? Fuck this guy. No, it's funny when I have some controversy. I hope there's a big like, oh, this next event, there's a whole bunch of like Dodgers Catholics protesting. You're a groomer, Mr. Beast. Like,
you're a groomer, Mr. Beast.
Oh man, we just made that.
That's gonna be that's a meme. I'm gonna make that.
Yeah, that should be the next little gimmick on Biggest Problem.
That's something there. You're making the kids into deviants. Yeah. All right.
So speaking of Biggest Problem, how did you and Dick get together in the first place?
So I had done the Belle Delphine video where I pretend to vape her bathwater for funny yuck.
I'm gonna have to find it. I love Belle. I love Belle.
And this was she put out her bathwater, and then I said I was gonna vape it, and people went nuts. I did not actually vape it, but Riley, who was Dick's booker, I guess, saw that video and was like, hey, do you want to call into the Dick show? So I called in, and Dick thought it was funny, and then it turned out Dick only lives like a half hour from me, so I got to go in and do his show in person one time. And then I don't know, I guess we just kind of hit it off in a weird way where we're like, yeah, this is fun. And, and then at some point Sean was out of town. So he was like, hey, I want to do a reboot of Biggest Problem. I want to try that out. I was like, all right, let's do it. And people really liked what we did with the reboot. So we decided to make it, a thing.
It's hilarious. I was showing the newest episode while I was at work. I gave a friend the other earbud while we're working.
Oh, yeah.
He was getting a kick out of it and agreeing with a lot of both y'all's takes. Like, he doesn't even know shit about Eric July and ISOM and stuff, but he's just having fun listening. Like, so y'all got
it's a great show. We've been having a ton of fun with it.
Yeah, I like the contrast, especially like there's always going to be like some sort of like.
Yeah, Dick says that like an insurrection of the government is awesome and based, and I go, Jesus Christ, you motherfucker, you're gonna get us canceled. Shut up. So yeah,
I was honestly like, I heard about the riot at work, and I'm like, what? No way. And then I see them, and then I see pictures of like the cowering representatives. I'm like, that's what every government official should fucking feel.
Yeah, exactly.
They should feel like, oh, if I do this decision for corporation against the people, I'm going to get tar and feather. Like, that's how we used to be when we started America.
Exactly.
And now they literally take bribes in public. This is both sides. Like, I view the government's purple. Obama's a perfect example. Runs against the Republicans as like Bush in the Iraq war. And he's like this messiah, the savior against things. A Democrat. He's, no wars. And he sustains the war, builds it back up, and re-signs the Patriot Act when it could have went away because the government's purple. That's why I'm a Trump guy, is because he's just he's out. He's not of the cloth. That's why all the presidents have united against. You can say other reasons too, but like I see that and I'm like, all right, it's a maverick of some sort. He's not the Caesar we're hoping, but he's like the pebble.
He's got some ideas.
Him and AOC. AOC is, possibly, a puppet for whatever, but like she's not of the cloth either. And both of them, irrespective of your view of them and their politics and what they say, we need more of that. We need people not running through the mill on their knees for years. And then, now their handlers have said, okay, now we're going to let you be the face. Like Biden winning the Democrat. What? Out of everybody, that's the guy. This is rigged. This is the old Biden administration. This is just Obama, his hand up his ass behind the scenes. And this whole shit's just screwed. You think of Twitter and YouTube and these arguments about free speech. And it's like, wait, this is the problem with my side, the Republicans, the conservatives, independents, is like private business. And then you see Twitter censoring and working with the FBI because you can't stop them because you love capitalism. You love, it's their right. And so you can't nationalize this stuff because who's in power, but we can't let them be free market. Like, I don't know what the solution. This whole shit's broken. I'm so frustrated, honestly.
Yeah, it drives you nuts. The more you think about it, the crazier it makes you.
And so that's why I'm just kind of like, I'm just a plebe.
Yeah.
Some people get really mad and stuff, and I get it, but it's like, I don't know how much noise either side makes. Like, it's all orchestrated. They're all playing together in their own palace,
right?
Behind a gate, behind a fence with guns. Like, we're not doing it. It's until like Mexico just has a population boom and floods us in South America. Like, you're not going to see a culture. Honestly, I hope the Latin Americans are the future of America, because
kind of are.
They have family value, and you don't have to. You're not relying on the nuclear family, because that's one cog. You take out the dad, it's nuked. Extended families, you got a lot of father figures to maintain patriarchal structure. So that is the future, I think, is Latins.
I'm hoping.
And I love Taco Bell. I love going to real Mexican restaurants.
Real Mexican. That's the real stuff.
Yeah. No. I go to Taco Bell and I go to real. There's this like Mexican Kroger chain.
Ooh.
It's like Michoacana or something in Columbus area. They got little restaurants because they have like a deli and stuff, meat and all that. So they have like, the woman last time I went with a friend, Hofcast, she had to like call someone that could speak English to take my order. So it's like, it's authentic, which I'm like, how the hell is there non-English Mexicans in Columbus, Ohio? I'm high up north.
Yeah.
Let me say out of the chat. I appreciate you Vito files popping in.
A couple people are saying hi. Guys, don't forget to hit subscribe.
Oh, thank you. I never really shill for myself.
Well, there you go.
I'm a bad YouTuber. You saw the Twitter. Thank you, Kara Fro. You've been good in the chat. Elizabeth Emoji. Hedonic Treadmill. I got my mod. Ancient One. I never know when he's popping into mod. I have no contact with him besides the chat. Pops Culture. I see the sculpt of Becca made.
It's getting attacked.
Stupid cat.
But no, it's cool that it was just kind of so innocuous. You and
no, it just kind of happened very naturally.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel bad for you with the whole Alex Jones stuff, because it's like, when I see your perspective, like, well, I have to obey the terms of service. Like, I watched your Snyder review, and you're like, vaguely mentioning around 9/11 and blurring it out because you don't want to like get dinged on your channel for showing 9/11.
Well, it is like kind of bullshit that like I've had videos that make like, stupid jokes and I get them demonetized, and then a group of people is like, oh, we can do whatever the fuck we want. I'm like, well, this seems unfair. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, no, I like Alex Jones. He's had problems, but like I want everybody to have their right to speak on these utility platforms, honestly, the town squares, but within the rules.
Yeah, the problem is always that at the end of the day, you can say they're crazy, but like the advertisers will revolt. They're like, we just don't want our ads being shown on the platform with this guy. And
yeah, I mean, if
the intersection of capitalism and free speech is a complicated place, man.
Yeah, it is.
If people think it's going to get better, it's not. Like the NFL Sunday Ticket is on YouTube now. It's only going to get worse. It's getting more corporate than it, every day.
The U is being removed from YouTube.
Yeah, you will pay for YouTube, citizen. Like that's where the U is going.
Ooh.
Let's see. Yeah. Also, I was interested because I don't know its whole history. I've just been seeing the new stuff, the reviews, and all that. Where did how did this start? This kind of heated conflict with July and the Rippaverse.
I guess it kind of started because he hangs out with a lot of YouTubers who are big dumb morons. Guys who have like written. These guys have like a website, and back when me and Dick went to like, we did that cool thing at Netflix that was awesome and everybody liked it, and these guys were all pissed because it was me. And they're like, well, actually, Vito hates free speech and blah. I'm like, all right, fuck you guys. You guys are fucking retards. So he hangs out with those guys. So I was like, okay, so this guy's as dumb as the rest of these guys. He's actually, I'll say this about Eric July. He's a little smarter than these morons. But so I was aware of him, and I watched some of his videos, and I disagree with his opinions and shit. So I was like, all right, fuck this guy. We had some little tiff where, like, I don't know, he like made fun of me in a video for something I had said or whatever. So, and then he said he's making a comic, and I went, oh, well, that's gonna suck. And everyone's like, what do you mean? You don't know? And I'm like, no, like, I know this guy, and he's not that smart, He like anytime he reads, he's one of those guys who has to move his mouse along to every word, and he still stumbles on all his sentences. I'm like, well, he can't read, so I doubt he can write. But also, just like he's never written anything before. Okay, like anytime someone tells me like, well, I've never written anything before, but I'm really excited to try, I'm like, okay, well, that's going to be really bad. I'm pretty sure. It never ends in like a way that's really good for anyone. So I was skeptical. I was like, from what I know of this guy, he's a big dummy. And I looked at his campaign, and I think I was very fair. I was just like, yeah, this writing is terrible. This, again, reads like it was written by a child. I'm pretty sure this guy's going to write.
I never respected you.
Yeah, well, I mean, if anything, if the campaign had been written good, but like the weird thing was, and part of the problem the reason I was like criticizing it is like, here's the thing about my comic company is like, I'm going to make sure when we have, like movies and TV shows, there won't be any race swapping. And I'm like, bitch, you don't even have a comic yet. You don't talk about the TV shows and the movies. Like, you're way ahead of yourself. Or he's like, my comic universe.
Well,
I can
counter that.
Yeah,
I gotta counter that just because his association of the Blaze and with the conservative alternative sphere of Daily Wire, it's not out of the question that they would like, especially he's black. So it's like, regardless if it's genuine,
an ISOM cartoon or TV show, it's going to be fucking hilarious. It's the worst comic I've ever read in my life.
Regardless of,
it's about a black guy who goes to a building, gets told that the girl who he's looking for isn't there, and then he gets mad and starts beating up security guards for no reason. Then he walks around and he's still really mad about fighting the security guards and goes back and fights more security guards. It's not a story. It's moronic.
Well, I was just going to say that given his association with the Blaze and the kind of sphere with Daily Wire and their 100 million or however much they're dumping into entertainment, it's not out of question that because he's black and the narrative of conservatives and being racist, it's advantageous regardless if they see merit or if it's just actually for like to prop them up because diversity.
Well, you don't want to say Black Shield or whatever the hell else.
Right.
But
that's what I'm saying. Is like regardless of the merit that they think he would have, it's advantageous today.
Yeah, when any black person shows up in a conservative sphere, they can be the dumbest motherfucker alive and it will still get these guys salivating. I mean, look at Candace Owens, who is dumber than a fucking rock.
That's the one person I will generally call a coon. I don't believe anything.
Well, I'm not saying that.
No, well, hey, I'm black. I can say
fair
it.
Enough. You're allowed to say it.
It's coming from me. That's like I don't like to turn people or actually stereotype them like that. But honestly, I think she's just totally controlled, and it's like, oh, look, a black person said it.
She destroyed Kanye. She destroyed Kanye. Kanye was doing great, and then she's like, you should wear a White Lives Matter fucking jacket. And I'm like, don't do it, Kanye. Don't do it. And then he fucking did it because that dumb bitch convinced him.
Game over.
Yeah, well, it was. It is very game over. So, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's
Fox Culture says, I hope Eric voices ISOM if they do, like he did in the short.
He did. He screamed. He does a good black man yell.
Well, he's in a band, so I think he does like screamo.
Yeah. So that's good. I'm glad.
No, it's conflicting because like I do like some of Eric's content about the kind of low hanging fruit about oh look, this woke shit failed, and it's like it's echo chamber stuff for me. Yeah, I'm aware of it.
I get it. I watch,
but
stuff about.
I also get fucking irritated. Like I appreciate someone with a totally kind of drastic different view because like I put it this way: you get two people on a dispute, like you're talking about like just tribal, whatever, without coming to blows like Cain and Abel. You need a third party to litigate that issue. This is the core of of society is sacrificing some freedom to a third party to be for the interest of everybody, its well-being. So you need government, however minimal you want to make it. You need government to have society. Otherwise, we're just animals, and even animals have government. Like our cousins, the chimps, are a great example of politics in the animal kingdom. So his anarcho-capitalism stuff, I'm just like, this is just as juvenile as like communist utopianism of like, well, let's just let everybody not have a job and we're all just taken care of and we're all happy. And it's like, someone's going to, so I get irritated with that perspective of like, oh, of course I got to pay for this because the government's got to rob me, taxation is theft, and it's like, even if I could see taxation is theft, like we need it to like have society.
Yeah, I also think there's a big difference between, commenting and saying, "Hey, look at this dumb woke thing," which takes no amount of effort really. And going out and writing a great thing, which is like a hugely involved endeavor, and even the greatest writers of all time will fail at it on the regular. So, the idea that Eric July was qualified to write a great comic because he's good at complaining about woke media, I guess it was the ultimate like stupidity for me, where I'm like, no, these are very disconnected disciplines. And Eric July has proved exactly what I meant when I said that, because he failed. He wrote a bad comic, like objectively bad.
To me, it's not even a problem if he made a bad comic. It's just like, well, it's his first crack, so he gets a pass.
Yeah, why not?
As long as you're like improving. But his reaction and his like, I wouldn't say fan base. That's whatever. They're devoted. Yeah. Fine. They're not in the question. But his peers, besides EVS, because that's how I started the bullshitters, found EVS, and that's why I'm Comicsgate and into comics at all. And you see like the kind of like, he's trying to be a bit diplomatic, but he's like, these guys got a lot of points. Like, I've been in the industry for 30 years with great writers like Jeff Johns, worked on X-Men, Grant Morrison did, it's like he's been around good writers. And he's actively working on building his craft.
You're talking about Ethan? Yeah. Ethan is the one who should have Eric July's success. Like, obviously. Ethan knows what he's doing. He knows how to make a good comic. Like, Eric is a guy who, look, if you like, you can like him and you can say, I support him and I want to see him succeed. But when you start saying shit like he's the next Stan Lee.
Christopher Priest or something.
He should not be starting a comic company and with a warehouse and multiple books, and he's skipped 10-20 years of education getting to that point. Okay, the guys who are starting their own comic companies, they don't do it with their very first comic. That's fucking insane. And yes, he's making money now because he has this audience in his pocket, but I don't think that audience is going to grow. It's going to remain this insular Eric July hug fest. Which, okay, as long as he can remain a popular YouTuber, yeah, he can sustain that forever. But he's honestly going to be bleeding money. Why does he have a bunch of employees? Why does he have a distribution warehouse? I mean, you get a warehouse when you're shipping a new book every 2 weeks. He's putting out only 3 books a year. He doesn't need a warehouse. Just get a distribution partner. Like, everything he's doing is fucking insane and a waste of money. And at the end of the day, all he should be focusing on is learning how to write a good and decent book. If you want to change the game, if you want to establish a parallel economy, the one thing you should worry about is making a product that is of such high quality that even mainstream leftists or whatever have to say, well, you know what? It's a great comic. I can't deny that. But he doesn't have that. All he has is, look at my warehouse, look at my money, look at all my fans, and a shitty, badly written comic book that if you handed it to an average comic reader, they're going to go, this is worse than anything Marvel or DC is doing. Like, why? Right. I would just rather read X-Men.
It's funny because, I'm in the process of reading it through Ricky Critic, and I almost backed it, but I'm trying to be judicious. Where it's like, all right, if I back someone, it's someone that I like their shit, but they're not buku success. Besides EVS, because I already have been here from the start with this guy. I'm not just following a big person, or I like their channel, so I'm
buy a product if it's a quality. Look, EVS puts out a quality book. He can draw like a motherfucker. He knows, stories. ISOM is bad. The only reason to buy it is if you support Eric July and you want to see him continue his weird quest to establish a comic book company where the lead writer doesn't know how to write. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, with the parallel comic, if he did something so outlandish, like What Is a Woman for documentary film, that's something where it's
well, at least that's pushing the political needle too. That's the other thing. His book doesn't push anything. It's just It doesn't have politics. Oh, okay.
Well, I'm just using What Is a Woman as an example of like because of who it's from and what it's talking about. They can't really refute what he's offering, the perspective, and so the media, the mainstream media, has just ignored it. They put a wall up because it's like we can't address it. If that's where Eric should be like reaching, if he's trying to do a parallel kind of this is for our side, that's where he should be reaching, something like that, where it's like they can't even acknowledge it. But it's like anyone can acknowledge this book and pick it apart, you know. And for me, it's not just like, oh, he's a big YouTuber that talks about, oh, look at this woke shit, haha. I've seen some of his comic reviews. He's got. I expected more given seeing some of his comic reviews of like talking about story and pros and cons, and so that's
Eric talks about that.
He used to. I've seen some of his videos. Yeah, Eric.
Eric has said. Somebody asked, "What modern media are you consuming?" And he said none of it. And that tells you, guys, if you want to be a great writer, you need to connect with your times and you need to understand what people are consuming and why. You can't go, I don't watch or read any of it because it's all woke trash. That's the stupidest. Yeah, he never tells you anything about his comic other than it's for sale and how much money it's raised. It's actually phenomenal that he puts out a fucking promo video that goes, last time we raised $3.4 million. This time, maybe we'll raise $1.5 million. I'm like, what is the story? What did the characters do? Who's in charge of what? Who's the bad guy? He had nothing to say. And it was the same about his first campaign. And then people go, well, you hated him before the book was even out. Because his campaign told me nothing about the book other than a guy has a family friend that goes missing and then goes to find another family friend to find out where she went. Not an interesting hook. Not even a hook at all. There's nothing there.
Oh, here's the thing that me and Ricky have argued about. And I'll probably put a clip from that stream up. Jobs. All right.
Yeah.
So I went back and I read the first I Saw Him campaign. And it's like, oh, he's a former superhero, hung up the cape, and now he's a rancher. So when this book starts, ironically, like I said this, I would, as a black guy making a black character, I would not start the book of it meeting the black guy doing athletics. That's so stereotypical. Like black people think athlete or rapper or criminal. So I would not do either of those three.
Should have opened with him rapping. That would have been good.
So that was just my own personal observation, being aware of like race today, how you can't avoid it. I wouldn't have started the stereotype, but it's like, all right, he's a rancher. I had no idea so far in the book that he's a rancher. Cause like he says, all right, guy, close up shop. And it's like, what is the shop? And we got this whole argument about like, well, job doesn't matter. I'm like, well, it's in the ether. It's in the campaign. Tell me, is it ever addressed that he's a rancher in the book?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I mean,
finished it.
There's a couple parts where he's on the farm and he calls back to his farm buddies and something's going on the farm. I don't know what.
Is it clear that he's a rancher, that he's running?
They don't show him. I don't think they ever show any cattle or anything. They don't show him cutting up meat or preparing any of it. So I don't know. You have to take his word for it. But
right. Okay. So this is the thing is like, I started picking out like, all right, Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, as little as you see, he's a moisture farmer.
Yeah.
Princess Leia Organa, obviously princess, and she's like she's a diplomat of the rebellion. Han Solo is a smuggler, as surface level as all that is to like, all right, smuggler smuggles, diplomat. So, I don't know. Yeah, dipples. Moisture farmer. I didn't see any moisture, but okay. He's on the farm. And then Tarkin is an admiral or a Moff, so it's essentially an admiral, and a governor. Vader is like an enforcer. He's like the muscle in the first film. You start looking at any film, or it's like Jamie Foxx did like a homeless movie. It's like, all right, so the problem is the guy doesn't have a job, and that is like a conflict of his life is related to job or not having it. You could go even like Game of Thrones, more abstract, where it's like, all right, this guy is the Lord, and Lord Eddard Stark makes an impression because unlike other lords that delegate executions, he feels the weight of it himself and does it himself because of the gravitas of his word as a diplomat. You have the children who are princes and princesses essentially, and then you got his bastard son, where it's like he's highborn, but actually he's a bastard, so he's kind of lesser than a married peasant with the trueborn son. So and you get this. So if you had a peasant doing shit like Jon Snow or Daenerys, you'd be like, well, why would anyone give a peasant dragon eggs? You know, like jobs matter even in an abstract way in universes. And I'm like, he makes a point of showing like, all right, guy, go shut the shop
down the shop.
I have no idea what his job is. Like the boys makes it was like, all right, well, how are these people living day to day? Well, they work for the pharmaceutical company, so that like their job is just existing and keeping good PR with the public. So they're taken care of. So it's not really an issue of like how are they paying their mortgage or anything. So it's like that is a huge element, and it's just funny because I'm trying to write METH Gator, and I'm like, all right, it's kind of wacky, but he makes moonshine with his raccoon father.
Yeah,
like Dukes of Hazzard, and it's like, well, that's
you
how you
want to know about these characters in their private life. I mean, you know, Spider-Man's interesting because he's a nerdy,
he's stretched thin
student. You know, yeah, the Fantastic Four. You want to see him have this stupid family drama, and they're arguing with each other. Isam's just a guy. He seems to have no real connections in his life. He just stumbles into the city, and then gets into a stupid situation that he has no business being in.
Did he get money from being a superhero? Like, what was he?
We don't know anything about why.
That's what's annoying. Is because it's like we're dropped in.
There's no reason to connect to this character. He's just an angry black guy who got insulted one day.
He's Reva.
Yeah, he's kind of Reva. He's an angry black individual who's running around and punching people because he feels slighted and disrespected, which I don't see why I should connect with that character. If anything, I go, that guy's an asshole, and I don't like him.
Get no respect.
I'm on the side of these security guards. We're like, listen, man, you just got to leave. We can't have you here. And he's like, I'm going to kill all you. And you're like, oh, my God, Isom, leave him alone. So, look, here.
It makes me feel better.
Here's why Eric drives me. Yeah, here's why he drives me nuts. You finish your thoughts. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, like, reading some of the stuff I have in my sphere specifically, and seeing this Isom thing, where it's like, look at the success, but then you see the story, and it's like, I was really worried about like being a first-time writer, and now I see this stuff, and I'm like, I'm not worried now. Like, I feel like I've put a lot of thought into things that people that have succeeded have just like skirted, and you know, so it's like, well, my shit should really like blow you away. I'm not even like a great writer or anything, you know.
Eric July drives me nuts because I'm in Hollywood, and every day in Hollywood you meet a guy who goes, "Oh, you're a writer? I had a great idea for a story." You go, "Oh, really? Oh, tell me all about it."
They all have ideas.
They all have ideas, and at the end of the day, you go, "Well, if you got a great idea, okay, you got to put in the time and you got to put in the effort. You know, your idea is meaningless. You have to learn. You have to become a creator. You have to dedicate yourself to this craft. You're going to fail 1,000,000 times. I have 1,000,000 failed stories sitting on a hard drive. Okay. You got to really figure your way through it. Or you could be a hugely popular influencer and raise a ton of money and then just gaslight your audience into telling you you're God's gift to creation. That's another way to do it. Eric July is a guy with an idea, and it is a bad idea. The core idea that he has, this boring ass superhero universe, like the most basic bitch superhero stories, like feels like a throwback to the 70s. Well, guys with powers fighting each other. I'm like, well, what's the hook? What's at the core of it? What would make me interested about this? It's just a black guy and he's super strong and mad at people. Like that's not a story. That's just, there's nothing here.
Read the melodramatic first Ghost Rider from Marvel Spotlight, and it's like, fuck, there's a lot in there already, you know. And you get to like issue 4 or 5 of Ghost Rider, and it's like, oh, actually, the father made a deal with Satan, and he's got to come back and take out Johnny and it's like, fuck, you know, it's essentially 120 pages, and we're going all over the place.
Any project that is good, you should be able to pitch it to me and explain it in about 2 or 3 sentences.
Yeah,
Superkiller. A guy travels between dimensions, assassinating the primary superhero of each universe to try and save the multiverse. Great, I got it. Spider-Man. Kid bitten by a radioactive spider must wrestle with navigating between normal life and the burden of being a superhero. Fantastic, I got it. Isom. Black guy is disrespected, and he's got to punch a lot of guys to get out of that situation. It's not a story. It's not a hook. There's nothing there.
Right. Luke
Cage.
Nothing
at all.
Pop's culture. Yeah, I feel what I've read so
Luke
far.
Cage is great. Luke Cage, hero for hire. A man with superpowers, but wants to get paid. Like that's hilarious. I get it. Hero for hire, Luke Cage.
Yeah, no, it's just funny because like I read it and it's like this was like a bad, like an undeveloped Luke Cage.
It's Luke Cage with no hook. There's no hook.
That clip. Oh, he flies. That was hilarious because like, you didn't.
People don't even know his power. Yeah, none of them read it, and they're not gonna read it. That's what drives me nuts. It would be one thing. Look, a lot of YouTubers put out stupid vanity projects, and they're half baked and they suck, and it's fine. I don't care. Tim Pool has a fucking band. Great. You know, if you want to listen to Tim Pool's music, go nuts. The problem is when they're fucking sycophants. You know, all these other YouTube guys they know are putting out videos saying Eric July has Marvel and DC Comics running scared, and I go, that's a lie. Nobody at Marvel or DC Comics gives two fucking shits about ISOM. This has no impact on your precious culture war, and you're lying to your audience claiming that it does. I honestly find it unethical to tell your audience that Eric July is impacting the business of Marvel or DC. That's a lie. It's not true.
I would say he is in the sense of like John Gordon Murphy, huge success at DC Comics, writing a cool new take on Batman. Kind of encapsulates the whole history of Batman with White Knight, you know, and turns the typical story on its head with Joker. And then he goes and does Indiegogo, and I'm surprised it didn't make a lot of money. But like that would be the one thing I'd say. Like this would impact comic creators at like the mainstream. Is that a worthwhile creator? Like, what if Art Germ did his own comic solo?
Oh damn!
Fuck, you know. Tom McFarlane,
sure,
already established, goes to Kickstarter to sell a toy when he's already got his own network. You know, it's like, okay. And it's because of stuff like EBS and Eric July, but $4 million on one issue because he has a YouTube. It's like
potentially, I'm not gonna.
That will be an influence, but the quality thus far, no.
I think that more people are going to embrace independent creation, but I think that was happening with or without Eric July. Yeah, putting a big price tag, you know, seeing a big price tag might put dollar signs in more guys' eyes and get them wanting to make their own independent projects. But I think those dollar signs have been out there. We've seen big Kickstarters before. I don't really see ISOM being a huge proponent of that. And again, the reason I say it doesn't impact DC or Marvel Comics is how does DC or Marvel Comics change their strategy based on ISOM? What do they do differently? Well, nothing. You know, because the book didn't sell. You know, they're going to say, well, they should learn from ISOM and make a book with less politics in it. But that's not the reason ISOM sold. ISOM probably would have sold just as well if it had right-wing politics, if it was all about crushing libs or whatever. If anything, it sold because it's a part of this like culture war marketing campaign, this quest against whatever anti-wokeness, and also because it's tied to a huge influencer in that space. But if Marvel let's put it this way, if Marvel made a comic that was exactly like ISOM, but it wasn't attached to some popular influencer, it was just a black guy running around punching security guards, they're not gonna make $3.4 million. It's sold based on, you know, Ripa's name and his fucking brand.
Yeah, no, I think that is valid.
Yes. What's the thing? You know, as we've said, if he wants to have a warehouse and sell shit so bad, why doesn't he just fucking make sneakers or I don't know, other tchotchkes? Why does he want to make comics? He clearly doesn't know how to do it, but whatever. I guess it's working for him. So I just think at a certain point, honestly, the money's gonna, you know what? It's not gonna run out. I think he can sustain this grip for a long time. But this dream of, you know, I'm gonna be an independent comic publisher, putting out 12 books a month, and I'm gonna have a bunch of writers writing for me. I think the numbers are gonna steadily go down. ISOM 2, he figured out some creative ways to make some extra money, charging $100 for a comic book with a foil cover. There's only so many times he's going to get away with that. At a certain point, your customer is not buying the $100 foil cover. We'll see if Yaira makes money. Security
oh my god, I
Marvel.
fucking hate that name. And I heard some of the other names in the book that I haven't
Yaira, Alpha Core.
No, of course, whatever. Like that sounds like.
Well, it's so funny that they're going, oh my god, he got Chuck Dixon. Can you believe he got Chuck Dixon? I go, Chuck Dixon's last job was writing fucking QAnon books for Vox Day. Like getting Chuck Dixon is not hard. Well, anyone can hire Chuck Dixon.
Did you read the QAnon? I haven't read it, but
Alt Hero Q. I haven't read it. No.
Okay, I want to read it. I'm just interested. just because of the name. You know,
yeah, Chuck Dixon completely fell off. Like the fact that people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you got Chuck Dixon." I'm like, bro, anybody with $1 in their pocket can hire Chuck Dixon. Like, literally, you reach out to that guy, and he'll probably do a book for you.
I like that though. I like that someone's like, "Hey, like, there's money." It's like the Nick Cage angle. Like, oh, you okay?
Yeah,
Price is right.
I'm just saying it would have been like if he got like an existing Marvel writer or artist decided to leave Marvel to write for the Rippaverse, I would go, holy shit, I can't believe you made that happen. But the fact that you got an old guy who isn't allowed to make Batman comics anymore because he's kind of a weird racist, it's not that big a get. I don't
know. So Superkiller, how many issues are you planning?
100.
Like,
nice.
Just the sky's the limit. However long people
hell yeah,
keep it going.
I want to be like this.
Targets.
I'm gonna be like that Savage Dragon guy, and I'm just gonna do it forever.
Oh, Eric Larson. Yes.
I sent Eric Larson a picture of the Superkiller cover, and he said it's awesome. So Eric Larson approves of Superkiller. I'll say this: I think best thing we can do is do a solid 6-issue arc.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first 2 issues are really going to set up the universe, and then do kind of a 4-issue mini arc from there. And if it has legs, we can continue from there. But let's try to do 6 issues. That's going to be just to start. I would love to keep doing it forever because I have so many stories I'd like to tell here. But I think also, people, we got to be realistic. Does this thing have legs at some point?
Yeah.
Is the audience going to stop supporting it? I don't know. We're going to see how long we can do it for.
Well, and also customers are less hesitant to like, or I should say they're less hesitant to back something if they know that there's like a fulfilling.
There's some end, fulfilling. Yeah. I want to reach some sort of climax in the story where you go, hey, that was a pretty cool little story I just read there, and but obviously leave it open to making it happen.
Yep. Isn't there with autistic boobs, mint salad? Isn't there like some perk that she's doing for you?
Mint salad. If you scroll down to the trading cards, every order of the book is going to come with a collection of trading cards, and you'll see mint salads is the one where they're drinking milkshakes right there.
Oh, so she draws?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware. Oh, I guess I've seen the
the ice
the pride art. Yeah, I love it.
Of course.
God.
This is another thing that's crazy is Eric July's people are coming to me now and they're going, well, actually, if you count the number of pages in ISOM or you count the number of pages in your book, you're charging 8 cents more per page than ISOM. And I'm like, yeah, but my book doesn't suck. And they're like, and I'm like, and you get trading cards. I'm like, how many trading cards come with your copy of ISOM? They're like, we don't get any trading cards. I'm like, well, then I win. Fuck you.
It's just funny because you're like, oh, the money. It's like, yeah, I've only made this compared to that, but it's like, mine's better though. And like regardless if it is or not,
would you rather pay $5 for dog shit or $8 for a steak? Like that's the comparison we're making. All right, I'll take the $8 steak every day. Fuck it. No, you're gonna. You should
have a tier. You should have a $3.8 million tier.
Dude, I'll say this, man. It is very easy. Look, you can read my campaign. Look at all the detail I put in. Look at all the nice, words and images explaining what you're going to get and everything. Go read ISOM's campaign that reads like it's written by an illiterate monkey. It's like, ISOM is a story about
a monkey.
Well, I'm saying he hired a monkey. No, he didn't write it himself. Let's be clear. He hired a monkey to write it. Monkey banging on a typewriter and said, ISOM's the most powerful, and the one day he's got to go fight a guy, and the guy was very mean, and you're like, oh my god, this is childish what he's written here. So I think you can just compare the quality of the campaigns themselves, and you're going to get some real quality out of this. And again, I'm not charging $100 for a foil cover. I've talked to pros in the comic community, even some guys who let's say are on Eric July's sphere or whatever else. And I went, how much does it cost to print that foil cover he's putting out? And they go, probably $5. And I go, do you think a $95 markup for a foil cover is reasonable? And they're like, no, I think he's price gouging the shit out of his customers, frankly. So let's be clear, guys. Everybody knows Eric's ripping you off. Even with the volume he's printing, His book also doesn't need to be $35 anymore if that's how many he's making. But, you know, he respects the fans so much that he's going to charge nickel and dime you on everything and charge you extra for shipping and, you know, charge you $100 for a fucking shitty foil cover. What is it, the 90s era of shitty comic speculation? I think you get a better value over here with Superkiller, but what can I say? What do I know?
I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
guys,
I'm legitimately excited for this book.
Good.
Yeah,
You're gonna love it.
the
It's gonna be fun.
possibilities. Yeah.
The one thing I'll say is
Queer or not, I just saw that red. Queer or not.
I'm excited to get it out. I'm excited to get it done.
When is the fulfillment?
Do.
When is the fulfillment goal?
I'll say this: I put the fulfillment date as December. I'm really hoping we can hit that date, but it is going to be a time crunch. We're going to be rushing up against it. If it slips, I'm going to feel bad, but hopefully we're getting all our ducks in a row so that we can hit that date.
Oh, there's one thing I wanted to show you, and people, if you're interested, because I know there's it's weird coincidence because me and Ricky talked about this like a month or so before. And you got this weight loss challenge for 6 months, and
I'm really fucking that up.
Let me share this image. Where did it go? Okay. Present. Oh, son of a bitch. There we go. So this is our challenge art. I plan to put this probably on my Teespring, and whatever we make will probably go to the pool because we're betting $100 on the weight loss challenge. And what sucks is
loses the most.
Right. Yep. And what sucks is I've actually already been losing weight, so you could argue I'm already on a good track to build momentum against him. But he's like we've inverted. Like there's probably been a 10-pound inversion, and I'm not doing it. I just work in a factory and I drink a lot of water. And it's like finally like working on this next level for me. But yeah, because I'm Black Angus, so I asked the artist, hey, do a fat Darth Maul cow. And then he always wears a director hat, so he's fat Obi-Wan with a director hat. But we plan to do like straight comic art for like Team Angus, Team Rookie, like Captain America and Iron Man.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming soon. I'm waiting for the artist to get back to me on the preliminary sketches for that. But yeah, if y'all are interested, like my channel or like how Chris have interacted, go check out, of course, Chris Fisk, Infinitel Chronicles.
Yes,
I think
please.
it's $8 on Amazon. Legitimately, I just got this as like, okay, I saw him promote it in a tweet. I'm like, hey, show me books to back, and I $8, whatever. It's legitimately really good. I'm excited to see where it goes. That's why I've hit him up to be my co-host. He's got good perspective, good writing. He should make $3.7 million on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you'll be satisfied
we all will.
and intrigued. But yeah, if you want to support me, appreciate any subs. Trying to rebuild my channel. It's been a couple bad years, personally. So appreciate you coming on. Appreciate Vito coming on, and
thank you for having me.
Duel the Fats t-shirts to put in the pool for us for this challenge. And go back Superkiller. Link in the description. Sub to Vito. Sub is the biggest problem. You probably already have.
Absolutely.
And, again, thank you, Vito, for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Guest.
And I will check out Infinitel as well.
Well, thanks,
man. Do a review. Help him get some more sales.
Send me a copy.
He's got a lot of art.
Have Superkiller come and murder this broad.
Yeah, I'll have her. She's going to kill a bunch of elf bitches. I love that. These elf bitches keep coming at me. Oh, my God. All right, guys, I got to go, but have fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Thank you all for joining. I have a stream every Thursday with the Rookie Critic, the fat Obi-Wan from that picture. We talk just straight pop culture usually and whatever shenanigans we see on Twitter. Appreciate you joining. Hope you had a good time. And yeah, thank you, Red. Thank you, Elizabeth Emoji, Chris Fisk, whoever the hell that Queeranon is.
Yeah, I don't know that guy.
Pops Culture, Kara Fro. I saw Tim in here earlier. Anxious One being good mod. Hedonic Treadmill. We had Tina Bodgett in the chat. Glad to see you. Someone Lemon Trashy. Interesting.
Hey.
If Vito made that poster. Oh, yeah. I totally think if he should at least include fan art in the back. He could put a Disney disclaimer, like Song of the South or whatever. Like, there are things objectionable that the Vito company does not agree with, but we appreciate. Something like that, I think, is a good middle ground to produce that artwork. It is hilarious. I would back that cover in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But Vito has his principles. He won't cross that. I appreciate it. Monkey Jeebus, Flaccid Phoenix. We got to get together on a stream. Maybe next week I'll hit you up. Again, Superkiller and Infinitel Chronicles. Back these books. Infinitel. Chris, you want to share me the Amazon link so people can find it?
Sure.
I'll pull up your Twitter link so they can follow you for the future, because you share a lot of comic campaigns, Indiegogo and Kickstarter.
Oh yeah. I just I got my copy of Savage Sin in from Niobe Comics today. Freaking amazing, dude. I'm definitely on board for round 2 of that.
Here is the link to Infinitel Comics Twitter. So go follow them there. Shit, what the hell happened? There we go. Hey, Karen, how's it going? I actually have a clip from Transformers I need to clip to put in here when you pop in. It's a new instead of just the Karen, I got something else for you. Ancient says, question, Black Angus, what's the link for Vito's channel? Oh yeah, definitely go sub to Vito. Fuck! Oh man, I gotta share this to y'all really quick. Let me pull this up. I don't know if you've seen this, Chris, but I was just scrolling my subscriptions. Wait, I have minis too? Oh yeah, Chris does. He's got a lot of cool stuff. Let me share this. Have you heard the song Pound Town? Chris?
Pound Town? No.
Oh, it's a new rap sensation, and Ben Shapiro has reacted to it. Let's dig in.
Of art in the history of Western civilization. It is titled Pound Town.
I'm out of town, thugging with my round. My pink, my boo brown. Where the I'm looking for the hoes. Quit playing, come suck up toes.
Wow.
Woo! I'm out of town, thugging with my rounds. My coochie pink, my booty hole brown. We're now doing color descriptions of bodily orifices. My boogers green, my earwax orange, but nothing rhymes with orange. Where's the N-words? I'm looking for the hose. Quit playing, N-word. Come suck a toe. You decide to open conclusions by describing the color of your booty hole. That is a great way to find a spouse. It's just walk around singing songs about the color of your hole. All the values. So much greatness. We have now been great.
Damn it! I had that pulled up to share with Vito. God damn it! I'll have to tweet that at him. Fuck yeah! Everyone else too. Tweet that. Ben Shapiro reacts to Pound Town too, because it's great. H1, I'm pulling up his channel.
Yeah, Kara posted it.
Oh, thanks. Well, I can't copy and paste from StreamYard. Fuck. Oh well, here it is. It's just YouTube at Vito. But here you go. Karen says she's off to sleep. Well, whatever. Oh, you did it too, Chris.
No need disco.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining. I don't have anything else to talk about. I need to get to bed actually. Well, fuck. I'm gonna play Rome Total War actually. I play way too much of it, but I'm really determined to actually beat the game finally as a faction.
Nice.
Yeah, follow me at Angus Reviews on Twitter. You probably will like half of what I share and half you won't, but I'm like a Vito. Like I said, I'm kind of a Bill Maher of the right. I believe in some things, but then I'm like, fuck, we're getting crazy over here.
Yeah.
I love the whole angle on Biggest Problem. Did you see the Dodgers thing? Protest at the Dodgers.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
yeah. They got the nuns, the drag nuns. It's like, I guess, a formulated group. They're
a bunch of pussies. They should do that to Muslims.
They're doing it for AIDS prevention, I think. And so yeah, the Dodgers are honoring him for Pride Month. So you had like thousands of Catholics assembling to protest at one of the gates, impeding traffic or entrance. They get around other places to get in, but yeah, it was a big blockade of angry Catholics. And I like the biggest problem. They're like, oh, the pedos versus the pedos. Like,
yeah, let them fight.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny, just pandemonium. Honestly, this is all distraction. You know, even if these are arguments, and they are, I guess, legitimate arguments to some degree, it's so low tier. It's like no one's fighting like, oh no, the Dodgers. And it's like, why don't you go to like the hospitals and harangue the like gender affirming care surgeons for like teen girls?
Yeah.
And, you know, like that'd be worthwhile. Well, you know, it's like,
for me, I the thing I see is it's a bunch of petty groups that clearly have nothing better to do. Because on the one hand, yeah, you got the religious wackos or whatever, but on the other hand, you literally have these gay guys picking a fight with the Christians. Like they dressed up as nuns. That's a Catholic thing. You know what I mean? They're basically saying this is what we think of your nuns. So you're gonna piss this group off. Like they're doing it to to be provocative. And it's like, dude, you guys have no balls, probably literally, but like. It's like, why don't you do that like with imams? Dress up as imams and do that. Let's see how long that lasts.
Right. But well, okay, there's two things with that, to be devil's advocate, is for one, they will kill you.
Exactly. Because that's how you know that.
But two, it's like Islam doesn't affect this country. You know, it's not pervasive. It's not pervasive in the social thread. Is the thing, you know, it's like Christianity is implicit in our even though we're a secular government, it's in the rhetoric in our documents is implicit coming from Britain.
Yeah, but
British law, it's all Christian based.
Dude, as a Jew, I can say this with no skin in the game. In the last 20 years, Christianity has been removed from our culture. Like you can't even see Merry Christmas anymore.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with the plight. Me being ex-Catholic, I'm always having to be a Catholic apologist after the fact. I'm like, no, let's get this right. Usually it's just about rhetoric and theology of the sect, but no, it's like Catholic specific, but Christian in general. I'm an apologist. You're not a bigot if you're anti-gay because that's like your religion. It's like, oh, it's sin. That's a pervasive sin. You know, we should societally fight that. I get that perspective, but people use it as a shield to be homophobes as well. And so no one wants to like admit that, you know, when I see the bounty to comics, oh, the company has this thing promoting sodomy. It's like, oh, having a gay person is promoting sodomy. It's like, it gets wacky, you know, and that's not leading people to Christ. Regardless if the words you're saying are correct, it's the sentiment, how you're selling it. You're turning people off, you know. Because there's Christians that have gay family members.
Dude, everybody's got a gay uncle.
They don't agree with it. Maybe they're actually trying to influence them to like change their ways to find God, but they're not fucking hateful. You know, you gotta be diplomatic because this is like life. You know, sex, who you are sexually, I think, is implicit to your identity. In some ways. Now the pride shit, it's not implicit to your identity to go around in a dog mask in front of children at a pride parade. That's what you know, women aren't going around as heterosexuals being dominatrix. We don't have parades for dominatrix with you know.
Yeah, where's the stripper poles going down every? Is that July?
This is where it gets weird, but like, you know, yeah, being gay is implicit to your identity in the fact that there's going to be a huge population that you're hanging out the bros and they find out you're gay. They're going to like be standoffish, maybe not be your friend, maybe hate you because you're defective or whatever. Like that's a real issue to overcome. And it's not ever going to be overcome. Honestly, it's always going to be a thing that some people are just going to be like gross or you're lesser, you're defective.
It's an anomaly, you know? I mean, like I hate that term that they use, heteronormative. because it's like, dude, heterosexuality is normal. If it wasn't, none of us would be here.
Yeah, I think we need to find new verbiage about that because, society in general is heteronormative. That is the norm.
And it should be.
Unfortunately, that if you use that dialogue, then it's like, oh, well, you're abnormative. And it's like, well, no, being gay is recessive. I think being gay is recessive.
There's nothing wrong with being abnormal. I mean, you're like, when I was a kid, it was called alternative lifestyle.
Sure. Yeah. I don't even think we should. Yeah. I don't. We need to find new verbiage. We need to find not being a sensory police, but like we need to find something more appropriate to define these things. Of like, yeah, you're on a fringe, not because it's like degenerate, but just because it's not the norm. You're not abnormal. It's a recessive trait. Some people are just gay. It's, clearly we need heteroactivity, even if you're bi, to keep the species going. But
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
The way I see it is it's like, sure, it's abnormal, it's anomalous or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you deserve disrespect or to be ostracized or whatever. I mean, there are people who are albino.
That's what we need. You said disrespect. We need a gay Isom spinoff.
Oh shit.
Kid Isom, and he's gay and doesn't get respect. So he's got to punch some heteronormative security guards. I got a story.
No, is that who Superkiller's gonna kill next? Because like, honestly, dude, that property has like limitless potential. I mean, he could literally kill
fucking hilarious.
He could kill the Disney Afternoon. He could take on Dragon Ball Z. Like
that's actually hilarious. Like, you start the book and it's like you're totally unaware it's Superkiller. Book, it's just you fall in life of like I'm the gay superhero of my town, and I fly, and then I go home to my boyfriend, and it's like you kiss, and you get bisexual lighting, and then it's like, wait, did you leave the water on? It's like, oh, I haven't been in the bathroom. And then they go, bam, murder the gay, and it's like, all right, this universe is done.
Yeah, that's his intro. Feels like a guy
Superkiller.
I bet you thought the gay guy was the main character.
Well, yeah, like so that's what's weird with The Boys. Have you watched The Boys up to season 3? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So like it was Pride Month last year. They released the episode where the like Ant-Man guy goes in the pee hole sounding his lover, and then he blows him up when he sneezes. And I'm like, dude, the fact that you did this, you're inclusive of the gays, and yet you're not giving them a shield. And it's like, bravo, leftist Amazon, the guy that runs the show, Seth Rogen's a producer. They're all leftists, but they're telling this, very even-keeled show. But then they won't kill fucking Maeve, like in the story, how it's all lined up to happen. She's self-sacrificed, but it's like, she got out of it. She's alive because, the reason was, we couldn't kill a lesbian character. And it's like, oh my God, the show that makes fun of diversity hires and this whole SJW, initiative in Hollywood entertainment and advertising. You have Brave Maeve, like, gay lasagna and shit. You're making fun of that. But then, we actually won't kill her because she's gay or bi. And it's like, what the fuck? God, you killed gay guys. Blew up through his penis, like on Pride Month. That's what's frustrating is a show like that has literally the balls to make the biggest prop penis in history for this effect and execute literally the guy, and then they won't do it. I don't know. It's so strange. It's so strange. But yeah, it's been a good time. I need to get me some Realm Total War in before I go to bed. Fighting the Britons and the Dacians right now. If any of y'all play Rome. Yeah, no. Thank you for joining. Hopefully I'll find someone next week. Definitely you'll see me Thursday. I should have an old friend, It's a Vase Productions on, and that'll be fun. Rekindling that spirit. He's got some interesting stuff in the works for his channel. I can't wait to see it and talk to them. But yeah, see y'all Thursday, and go back Superkiller and go find Infinitales on Amazon. Talk to you later.